Well, thank you very much. It's an honor to be here. What a great place. What a great place, but more importantly, what great people. I want to thank His Royal Highness, the Crown Prince, for that incredible introduction. He's an incredible man. Known him a long time now. There's nobody like him. Thank you very much. Appreciate it very much, my friend. And it's a tremendous honor to return to this beautiful kingdom and be welcomed back with such extraordinary generosity and warmth. I've never forgotten the exceptional hospitality showed to us by King Solomon, who's just, we talk about a great man. That is a great man. That is a great man, a great family.
Want to get it off your chest? You're in the right place. They accuse this show of being run by boobs. Well, let me tell you about us boobs. We're real and we're spectacular. Want politics and fun sprinkled with a lot of laughs? Heard in every state in the Union and 1,000 cities around the world. We just finished 16 years of broadcast excellence, now in our 17th year. The Dave Weinbaum Show is streaming live all over the world. As you may know, 2 Jews were shot to death a few days ago in Washington, D.C. A young man and woman who worked for the Israeli embassy and were on the cusp of engagement and about to go to Israel to see family there. They were shot by a crazed USA hater by shooting the couple in the back, and to make sure of their death, shot many rounds into them, their dying bodies. He screamed, "Free Palestine," as cops handcuffed Elias Rodriguez from Chicago, and he is charged with first-degree murder. This should raise the stakes of all Jews in this country and all over the world. Many on the left who supported the open borders and hate speech coming from the Democratic Party, who lit this fire in our schools and universities and showed their positions with professors in Jewish school presidents of these Ivy League universities. This allowing these anti-Semitic propaganda. Another spread of the Israeli Hamas Houthi Hezbollah war supported by Iran and China. The Biden-Obama administrations were apologists to Arab countries. Both enriched Lebanon, Iran, and Hamas. To be fair, Israeli intel run by a Jewish leftist failed to react to all out murder of 1,300 Jews on 10/7/23. Now, hostages back or not, Israelis must kill the enemy to total destruction or an admission from that they are surrendering like Germany and Japan in World War II. War is a terrible thing, but Israel's choices were to fight or to die. Don't forget Rodriguez. Free Palestine from the river to the sea, meaning killing all Jews like you and me.
With this historic state visit, we celebrate more than 80 years of close partnership between the United States and the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Ever since President Franklin Roosevelt met with King Solomon's father, King Abdul Aziz, aboard the USS Quincy in 1945, the U.S.-Saudi relationship has been a bedrock of security and prosperity. Today, we reaffirm this important bond, and we take the next steps to make our relationship closer, stronger, and more powerful than ever before. It is more powerful than ever before. And by the way, it will remain that way. We don't go in and out like other people. It will remain that way.
All right, we're here in the Dave Weinbaum Show. Welcome, all who are going to watch, all who are watching right now. We got a great show lined up today. My wife will be here any minute, and it's my anniversary, so I sent out for flowers. I don't know if she's listening or not. So I don't want to wreck the surprise. We didn't need that because they're going to go out and tell her now, and then it's not. And I'm going to take her out to dinner tonight. Okay, everybody happy out there? Women, men, anyone object? I'm sitting here with JP Maxwell, who is the producer of the show.
Yep. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning. And we have Rick Henderson out in Salem, Missouri. His power has been shut off because of storms, apparently. And so he's hopefully he's listening. I think he's got a generator going there. And he does all the bits and the clips, and he's very good at it. And we're lined up with JJ Bradshaw at 8:10. Rabbi Moshe going to have a lot of interesting things. He was here last week. He stayed at my house and gave a speech at Pastor Pat's church, the Light and Life Church, and it was a great speech. And he's going to be very interesting to talk about these two beautiful people. They were the light of the eyes of all in the Israeli embassy in D.C. They loved this couple. This couple was meant to be, and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, this animal, Rodriguez, shoots him down. And he was crazed by what he heard. He was a leftist all the way. He was a part of the Communist Party. And he's got a big history of this, of being a radical, but not of shooting people. Well, there she is, my little wifey. Hi, honey. Hi, looking good, baby.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Oh, do we match? No. Anyways, by the way, happy anniversary.
Thank you. I started off great. I left the house without my wedding ring.
Oh, my God.
So I decided to go back and get it because today is special.
What's this? See? Aha. The one time she forgets it, okay? It's our anniversary. Is that a sign or what? I don't understand that.
It's not.
And I got mine on. You know, I take mine off to play golf because it hurts.
The important thing is she went back and got
That's
it. So
right.
see,
Yeah,
you're in the
okay.
clear.
I did.
All right. So we will dock you, 7-8 minutes of pay. And we'll have a good dinner. You can buy more. Okay. Hi there. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Well, Jay, this is JJ, and I'm having a little StreamYard problem on my
Oh,
here.
okay. So you want to talk now? Let me finish up my. We can do that. And I did announce you at 8:10. I don't even know what time it is. What time is it? 8:09. 8:09. So you're right there. That's fine. The rabbi is on at 8:40. Oh no, not Chris, but see, I've got this on the wrong. Okay, I've got the McCloskeys coming on at 9:30. They've got a lot to talk about. They are representing about 1,500 1/6ers, and this thing's blown up. This is good. We're going to have a lot of scoops today, I think. Bill Hardwick, he's coming on at 10. He's running for office. He's running. Well, he is already the rep in this area for Missouri, and he's going to run for Senate. And Richard Lockwood, the space alien guy who is also a Trump lover, devout Catholic, and we always learn a lot from Richard Lockwood. So let's start the show with my friend, JJ Bradshaw, who is 256 years old, going on 257. He was there for the. Oh, you're on. Look at that.
Surprise.
Oh my God, I was shocked. But where's why do I have an echo?
We still had the phone line on, but it's been cut off, so we should be good now.
Oh, yep. Say something. Hello?
Yeah.
Say something. But don't swear. Yeah. All right. Hold on. I'm introducing you. All right. Okay. So he's 256 years old. He goes all the way back to the Revolutionary War. He was friends with, Washington and Jefferson and Franklin, and he used to date ye old girls from the ye old tavern. I guess none of those girls have survived till you, but please welcome all the way from Rolla, Missouri, John Jeffrey Bradshaw.
Hello, Dave.
Good morning. How are you today?
Well, having a little StreamYard problems on my end. If it bombs on me or starts dropping me out, I'll go back to voice only. Say, okay. What a week, Dave. What a week we have had. I'll get right on to it. A couple of Israelis killed in Washington, D.C. That's absolutely unacceptable in this country. It's sad that we have gone so far left. Don't know what to say about that. It's just a very bad time.
I put my whole monologue on it. If you get a chance to know you're messing around with your stuff, take a listen.
I listened to the monologue, and I wanted to reiterate that that's a very sad day in our country that sort of thing happens.
And I came armed. I didn't mention it, but I'm coming armed now from now on because you never know. And so if I have a fighting chance, I'm going to fight back. And all Jews ought to be listening who are listening to this. You need to arm yourself. They do it in Israel. The Jews are all armed now, as opposed to what they weren't before 10/7/23. So let's face it, we've got an international, worldwide Jew-hating problem here. And a lot of it has to do with these leftists and the Democrats.
Yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
The fact is, in this country, the Democrats, the Marxists, are the ones that have encouraged this. If you recall, chaos and hatred is what they're known for. And you mentioned all Jews ought to arm themselves. Frankly, I think every reasonable citizen, non-criminal citizen, should be armed because, frankly, the police, they'll be there to write a report, but they sure won't be there to save you. Let's take a little trip to SCOTUS. Our buddy Donald Trump has made another win in SCOTUS. Trump had dismissed the Democrats on the National Labor Relations Board and the Merit Systems Protection Board. A pair of folks named Wilcox and Harris sued over that. And the Supreme Court came out with a very interesting opinion, which stated that the NLRB and the Merit Systems Protection Board are in fact executive boards. And as such, Trump has the right to boot out those who would not want to follow his policies. It's a little different than what the Supremes normally come up with. So yay for that. This is another win for Trump. Are you getting me okay, Dave? Am I breaking up?
Was this about the NPR?
No, it's about the National Labor Relations Board. Tell you what, I'm going to go back to voice only because this thing is causing me some grief.
Okay, that's fine. All right, are we there?
Yep, I'm here.
Oh my God, that was a quick transition.
The good news
he's disappeared on me, but he's resurrected on the phone.
Yeah, you know, I'm having some technical difficulties on this end.
I know.
StreamYard didn't want to load on either the telephone or the laptops. We're back to the
we've been there. We've all been there. All right.
But the business with the National Labor Relations Board, Merit Systems Board, unusual for the Supreme Court to say that these are executive type boards and subject to executive order from the commander-in-chief. You don't hear that from SCOTUS much. All I had to say about that, let's talk about that big old budget bill.
Yeah, big budget.
It looks like some things got added to it and subtracted from it before it got a 1-vote margin passing in the House. I think it may have some better time in the Senate, but much has been made of Medicaid work requirements that are going to occur in this thing. And the state and local deduction cap, the SALT. And I want to expound on those just a little bit. As it stands, Medicaid, you can apply for it if you're pretty poor, you can get it. Even if you are a fit person who has some disease that needs to be treated on the government dole, there's no work requirements. And it's reasonable, I think, to expect those who are able-bodied to work.
Yeah.
So that requirement has been added, and I kudos to that.
Yeah.
The state and local tax deduction, that was shoved through by California and New York and New Jersey. Why?
Right.
Because their state taxes are so very high. They're confiscatory in that regard. And they want to be able to deduct those taxes from those that they pay to the federal government. Well, I neither approve or disapprove of the concept of that. But if you lived in New York State, wouldn't you be politicking your own representatives in the state to lower the taxes so you don't have to do this?
One would think.
Say it again, Dave.
I said one would think that, yes.
Yeah. Now, remember Biden's Inflation Reduction Act?
Sure.
The thing that literally caused inflation to increase, pretty typical for Democrat legislation.
Yeah.
Those tax credits have been removed, and a bunch of Green New Deal credits have been removed. The good news in this thing is there are reimbursement to border states for border security expenses that they incurred while Biden's border folks did nothing. So states like Arizona, Texas, who have expended an awful lot out of their coffers to try to protect their citizens, they're going to get a little money back. And I think that's a good thing. But the big news about this, and we'll see if the Senate tosses this back in, it defunds Planned Parenthood. Now, Planned Parenthood gets about a third of their income from the federal government. So this is going to be a pretty good hit for them. And good. I'd like to see them go out of business.
Yeah, there's going to be a real war on that one.
I think so. And rightfully so. It needs to be discussed.
Sure.
We are, in fact, a representative constitutional republic, and we are based on discussing our problems and trying to find some common ground.
And according to the leaders of even the Republican Party in the Senate, they say, okay, we're going to go over this like it's a new bill and nobody knows anything about it, and we don't like some of this stuff. We think we know that's in there, and we're gonna tear this apart, put it back together, and vote on it. And that's I guess that's the way it ought to be, right?
This is exactly how the founding fathers had envisioned this to be.
Yeah.
We discuss these things. We find common ground. We kick out the stuff that doesn't fit, and we welcome the stuff. Now, whether the Senate and the House actually operate that way, I suppose we will see. They've not been known for nonpartisanship, but the good news on this, though, is this thing's finally out of the House. It looks like it has some good stuff in it, although I do object to the deficit being increased by $4 or $5 trillion. That part disturbs me some, but we'll see. I think Trump is betting on the economy growing at a fast enough rate.
3% versus maybe 1%. Yes.
Maybe.
And that's a lot of money. Okay, it doesn't sound like anything.
Oh yeah,
we're talking
we're
talking trillions here. So
it's we are at a tipping point, in my opinion, anyway. That this is not a sustainable economy as it stands. You can't hold these kind of deficits. Pretty soon, the interest payments eat up all your GDP, and now you've got a problem. So we'll see. I think there are some responsible people behind this thing that have the best interest of our country at heart. And they have my support, at least until they prove themselves not worthy of my support.
Well, I want to make a point about the Democrats here, because every Democrat in the House voted against this. In other words,
yes,
they voted against taxes going down for everybody, and including the middle class and small businesses. Okay, so they voted against their own constituaries that want relief from the heavy taxes that they would have had a tax increase, because the taxes as they are now are ready to expire. So Republicans voted to get the taxes down, and the Democrats voted to not only keep high taxes, but to have them cost about $2,000 to $3,000 per family.
More.
How is this not going to play into the 26 elections?
Well, it's going to be a problem for the Democrats, I think.
One would think. They just voted against their own constituents.
You remember the Nancy Pelosi House, where all of the Democrats voted in lockstep.
Yeah.
And it shows that's still
sure is
House of Representatives. So they're voting in lockstep to the detriment of the people that actually voted to put them in power. This is not sustainable for the Democrat Party. At some point, this is going to explode in their face, and sooner the better. Opinion. They don't deserve the benefit of the doubt.
I would agree.
We'll see. This is going to go to a joint committee between Senate and House, and they'll try to work out some of the kinks, looking at maybe a July the 4th deadline. We'll see. I think this is a positive thing that this got out of the House. House Conservative Caucus has made their voices rather clear on what they expect out of this. It's a good thing, I think.
I think it's a good thing too, and Trump now has a really good record, both in his last in the 2017 him becoming president and doing what he did then, with everybody hanging on him, trying to kick him out of office. And now we have the contrast between him and the Biden administration, and it's been revealed how sick Biden is and has been probably for about a decade. Somebody knew about it.
Right to my next topic.
Oh, okay. Go ahead with it, because I want to hear your perspective.
Well, all of us thought that Biden was mentally deficient, certainly from the last half of his term and probably before. Now we discover that he's had prostate cancer. It happens that I have prostate cancer, so I know very well how that disease progresses.
Me too.
And there's no way in the world that this thing showed up in the last 100 days. Not a chance in the world. This guy gets a blood test every year, and you can bet that a PSA, a prostate-specific antigen test, is included in that. It's a cheap test, and it's very good for detecting prostate cancer. So don't try to tell me that this metastatic cancer that is metastasized into his bones just showed up as some sort of epiphany. Not a chance in the world. There's nobody here that's going to buy that stuff. Beyond that, they finally published Robert Hur's audio tapes of the interview with Biden. And frankly, the guy came off as seriously deficient.
Yeah.
Didn't know whether he was vice president or president. Let's take that another step further, though. Let's take a look at the pardons that got signed when we all knew that this guy was mentally deficient. And it's proof now that every one of those is identical, which means they were signed with an auto pen. The question is, who was running this? What cabal of Marxists caused this to happen? Because Joe Biden wasn't all there.
That's a $64,000 question right there.
That's the big one, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I really
Who was really running the government, Barack Obama?
I seriously think Pam Bondi is gonna take this thing.
Oh, they need to do this. This is major.
They need to get to the bottom of it. Yeah. Frankly, Dave, our government was stolen from us.
Yes, it was.
By these people. They perpetrated what I believe to be the biggest fraud in the history of this country. And between the prostate cancer and the Hur report and the auto pen and all the other awful things that occurred in that last 12 to 15 months of his administration, smells to me like a serious conspiracy. And I believe there's treason has occurred here. So yeah, Pam, investigate this, please. Put Patel on this. Let's see if we can find out who these Marxists are and prosecute them.
Yeah, go ahead. JP wants
diplomacy.
Hold on a second.
So, hey, JJ, I wanted to ask you a quick question. So this brings another aspect of this into, and I'm going to put Biden was elected president, and I'm using quotes because I don't think he actually was, but
it was stolen.
Yep.
It was stolen, but he's in the seat, right? Supposedly. Well, if he's not the one that actually wrote these executive orders under the executive power of the presidential office, does that mean they're null and void then?
I don't know. Isn't that a great question?
Right.
Because it seems like nobody knows who did these things. Yeah. Now, Biden is the responsible party, but one could argue that someone with serious mental decline is not necessarily responsible.
Yeah.
Well, this is the point at which the 25th Amendment would take over, but nobody was willing to take him out of office.
So they were telling him he was fine. And so, he thought he was fine, right? Nobody told him he was demented.
Yeah, Dave. Checks in the mail. Trust me. The auto pen, this scandal is worse than Nixon by any means. It makes the Richard Nixon Watergate thing like a misdemeanor break-in. I seriously hope that our current executive branch investigates this thing and turns up the dirt. I want to know who wrote those pardons. I want to know who signed those pardons with the auto pen. And to JP's question, employed? I would think so, but that probably will end up in front of the Supreme Court. But this does need to be investigated. Our government was stolen by these people as the election was stolen. And as a citizen of this country who actually follows the laws of this country, I want to see those folks prosecuted. Now,
Well, yeah,
really good,
you got all these
really
books
good.
coming from liberals now admitting this, and they're acting like they just found out about it. All these
Yeah.
people are culpable because they all went
Uh,
along with the lie. Joe Biden is the sharpest man alive. Oh my God, you should see him. He's so bright, and he's working his butt off at home, and he's doing all this. Meanwhile, his wife is running administration meetings.
that's
Okay.
absolutely right.
Gee.
And those of us who are really just citizens of this country, I think we have a right to know who perpetrated this thing
Yeah,
and for what purpose.
sure.
And I would like to see those folks prosecuted. The latest scandal, this will be my closing scandal,
Okay.
if you will.
I want you to stay on to listen to the people sending stuff in.
I'd love to.
Okay.
South Africa, this thing blew up in the South African president's face big time. Trump holds a press conference. There's all the liberal media there. And South African President Ramaphosa was asked about the tail end of apartheid in South Africa and whether whites were being persecuted there. And of course, first thing he did was deny that. Well,
okay, hold on. We have a young lady that just came in, and I don't know how this happened, but Summer Jet, do you want to go in on the? No, you sure? Okay, but you want to bring it over and present it because I'm kind of stacked here. All right, I'm stacked and I'm racked. It is my anniversary today, and Summer here is presenting her with this big bouquet of flowers. And thank you, Summer. See, I got you on camera anyways.
Okay.
All right, so everybody look at that. Yes, okay. Wait, you're hiding your face. What's the matter with you? Okay, well, happy anniversary, honey.
That's gorgeous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, well, we'll smooch later, because JJ's got stuff to talk about. Okay, what else? We were in the middle of that, and I apologize. JJ, you there?
Well, I got to tell you, happy anniversary. Lisa, your taste in men is pretty dismal.
Okay, that's
Perhaps
just
it will
wrong.
improve.
I know. There's still time to improve, though.
Really?
I sincerely hope that.
Wait a minute. How am I supposed to take that one?
Well, you're my friend. You can
Give her
can help.
crickets
Just
on that
some
one.
friendly banter.
Come on, it's Jewish.
Crickets.
humor.
That's crickets right there. All right.
Let me tell you about the South African thing.
Thank you.
That's what I'm going to end with.
Okay.
The president of South Africa is in a press conference with Donald Trump. And of course, he was asked, well, why do we have white refugees coming to the United States from South Africa?
Right.
These are farmers that are concerned with their lives. And the first thing the guy said was, it's not the policy of my country. Well, Trump dims the lights and brings up this compilation tape of all of these South African politicians, in essence, saying, yeah, let's kill Whitey. This is one of the neatest diplomacy coups I've seen in the longest time. It was just about as good as Zelensky in the Oval Office when that exploded on him. And by the way, we stopped $660 billion a year of aid to your country. And we had a $1 billion green energy grant to your country. Oh, by the way, that has been suspended as well. And perhaps you ought to clean up your act before you come to the Oval Office and try to lie to the American press.
Yeah, they kept saying one word. I can't even remember the word now. All of them said the same thing. Like he ambushed him. Ambush. He ambushed this guy. I mean, every single MSM channel, every person was saying ambush, 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 ambush. I mean, they're all in sync with each other. And that's weird and it's sick, in my opinion.
but they've done that for decades.
I know.
You remember the word gravitas?
Yo, my
Gravitas went
gosh.
around years ago.
Gravitas.
I didn't even know what the hell that word
Me
meant
neither.
until I heard it on the MSM.
Yeah.
Yeah, gravitas.
Sure.
Okay.
Who thinks like
The
that?
point, though, is that Donald Trump takes prisoners. And if you expect mercy when you walk into the Oval Office, I think you're going to be sadly surprised.
Sure.
So yeah, that one was pretty good. I believe I will play that back a few times. And of course, the Democrats are howling because any kind of refugee has got to be Middle Eastern or black or something, not white Dutch folks.
Right.
So yeah, this Trump, my hat's off to you again. You pulled another rabbit out of a hat. And I see you looking at the clock, Dave.
Well, no, I'm not looking at the clock. I'm looking at the notes from people who want to talk either about you or the show.
Right. Put it on.
Patricia Odin Maxwell, sounding good, looking good. Go team! Happy anniversary, Dave and Lisa. Thank you so much. You're the best. Of course, she's talking about her, not me. Lisa Ann Weinbaum, thank you, Pastor Pat. 6 and counting. Was it 6? Yeah, it is.
I think we decided it was.
It was 6, yes. Kathy Sanford Dillon. Happy Friday, everyone. Love you all and have a blessed weekend. You too, Kathy. Appreciate you. This is Pat Odin Maxwell again. JJ, so glad you're able to get audio lined out. We need your input. And I would agree with that 100%. Always a great job, and I would agree with that too. And Owen McNamee, who pushes this show like crazy, all over the place, all over Twitter, all over the Facebook. Good morning, folks. What a patriot he is. Thank you, Owen. And good morning to Lisa. Oh, okay. You got your own little. See, you're a star. I'm surprised he didn't ask to say anything to you first. Okay, what else? Anything? That's it. All right, JJ, thank you so much for being a star on the Dave Weinbaum Show.
Thank you.
All right, so you know what? Usually I would have gone to commercial, but I don't think I'm going to do that because we don't have enough time because the rabbi is going to be on in about 3 minutes. So we'll postpone the commercials till after the rabbi. And then we got at 9:30, I think we got the McCloskeys, right? And that should be really interesting because they're not only representing all these people, they're representing Ryan Zink, who may have a special part in this. And it involves going up quickly to a court that might be able to hear him and really solve the problem for all these January 6ers. But I'm going to be vague about that, okay? I got to be vague. But I did have a long conversation with Jeff Zink yesterday, and that was pretty interesting. Anyhow, let's play the let's play. Let's see, what did I want played? Let's play the Trump baby. Remember that? Yeah, give me a second. I'll get it. Go ahead. All right, he's going to do Barb Stevens, Gar, and Lauren Flutt have birthdays today. Happy birthday. And we're going to have, let's see here. The funny thing about the playoffs in the NBA is that New York is now having done to them what they did to the Celtics by this Indianapolis team who look so good and so calm. So, oh yeah, you can show that one too. I'm gonna go and show them both. Yeah, I'm gonna go and share the screen real quick so that we actually can. Okay, good. Make sure we show the screen correctly. Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and click on this one so everybody can get. Whoop. I split a bit. It's Bruce Springsteen, who's moving moving out of the country. Here we go. And watch this one.
A Gulf country gave me a $400 million jet. I said yes, no hesitation. Now they're screaming, bribe, crime, outrage. Oh, please, spare me the drama. You fix oil prices, stop wars, save markets from collapse. You don't get a medal. You get a jet, a beautiful one. They say it stinks. You know what stinks? Family art sales for millions, hidden deals in back rooms, and silence from the press. I didn't hide it. I didn't lie. I didn't pretend. They all want gifts. I just said it out loud. Now they want an apology? For what? Being honest, this isn't corruption. This is compensation. Earned, deserved, delivered. So yes, I took the jet and I'm flying 40,000 feet over their fake outrage. While they tweet, I sleep. While they protest, I cruise. While they whine, I win. Don't like it? Do something worth rewarding. Believe me, a Gulf country gave me a $400 million.
All right. So how do they do that? How do they make that baby look so real? And talking about babies, well, we've got a rabbi who I don't know. Does he actually? Do you actually do the circumcision or not? Apparently not. So I don't. Moyle. That would be a Moyle. We're showing his book up there, and we're gonna introduce him rightly. He is a wartime rabbi. He provides support for IDF widows and their children with housing and camaraderie with other moms and widows who have the same circumstances. Please welcome all the way from Israel, Rabbi Moshe Rothschild. So I'd like your reaction. Oh, by the way, it's our anniversary. Did you know that?
Oh, yeah. Happy anniversary.
Well, thank you. Don't get too excited.
So how many years have you and JP been together on this?
About 3 years.
Almost 5 years.
About
Actually.
us.
Married 11 together.
Yeah,
And I'm not sharing my flowers with JP. I'm sorry.
Yeah, did you see the flowers?
He'll just have to buy me my own bouquet then.
Oh, God. Okay, you guys,
We'll look into that.
You guys are getting really weird now, okay? Really weird. All right, Yaron Lashinsky and Sarah Milgram, both in Israel's embassy, shot and killed. This guy didn't just shoot him. He emptied his gun and then reloaded and shot him again. Okay, till they were dead. Trump versus Biden in terms of the relationship, in terms of the people that were they're still out there screaming from the river to the sea. Finally, it's culminated in these murders. So, what are your thoughts on this? What should we do as Jews in America?
Well, there are two questions here. The question, if as an American, is different than what necessarily what a Jew needs to do. See, what I think is happening. This is not. It's tragic, but to me, it's not a surprise. When you see guys walking down the street, down Broadway, in New York City, carrying the flag of Hamas and the Palestinians, and all over the campuses in the United States and all over the streets of the world, in London, in Paris, in Spain, calling to free the Palestinians, calling for the end of quote unquote the genocide, for the end of the starvation, for the end of all these things. So the natural result is going to be violence, because you feel you create a society that thinks they're a community that thinks they're doing good, they're doing something good. It's like preventing Hitler. It's like preventing the Nazis.
Right.
They've turned everything on their head. And the United States, in my opinion, this demonstrates to me how that they're in big trouble, because freedom of speech has become freedom from responsible speaking. Freedom of speech has become that we could say whatever we want as long as we don't say we're going to assassinate the president, or we don't yell fire in a movie. But other than that, we could say whatever we want. And the result is when there's violent results, so don't act so surprised, because it's going to start with the Jews. But trust me, the jihadi manifesto is against Christians. It's against everybody. And if good people don't stand with Israel, don't stand with the Jews, they're going to come for you. And you know what? There's not going to be anybody left to stand with you when the time comes. And so if we don't stand together against evil, then we're going to have America's going to go down the tubes, whether it's going to be in 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years. We're going to let the jihadis in. And guess what? The birth rate in the United States is what, 1.4? The jihadis are giving birth at 3.5. You're going to allow Muslims into the country unabated, just allow them in and allow them to protest, allow them to create Sharia law, allow people like Ohan and Rashida Tlaib and Cori Bush, who thank God was thrown out, and Jamal Bowman, and all these people, that they're literally going to turn the United States on its head. This is no longer the country of, leave it to Beaver. It's going to turn it into, into something that no Western democracy wants. And France is finished, England is finished, Spain is finished. So what's going to happen? To me, this is a natural consequence, and it's going to happen over and over and over. And then they're going to be plowing their cars into U.S. to non-Jews, to everybody. It should be a wake-up call. Well, that's what I think for Americans. For Jews, maybe it's time to think that they're better. There are greener pastures. If we're not wanted, then maybe there's Israel. Somewhere else to go.
Like Israel.
Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah. I don't know. Did you hear my wife?
I just can you hear
no.
me? No.
Yeah.
Okay, he's got my microphone off.
Now I hear. Now I hear.
I just wanted to point out that I was driving from St. James to Raleigh yesterday, and I saw a big Stuckey's billboard. And on that huge billboard, they were announcing that they serve halal food. And this is a Stuckey's that is just a few miles outside of Raleigh. And so that was a little alarming to me to see that in our area.
Well,
yeah,
I think.
I think the university has a lot of students.
Oh yeah,
from Muslim countries, and it's like America's bending over backwards to be so liberal, to be so. If we don't start enacting laws in the United States and having consequences for this kind of speech, these things are going to happen over and over, and it's not going to be just Jews. It isn't.
Sure, it's going to be Christians, even moderate Muslims.
Yeah,
when you think about it.
By the way, this guy Lashinsky, he was a Christian. I don't think that was the intention.
I didn't know that.
He was a German Christian that had made Aliyah, had moved to Israel, and he wasn't even Jewish, but he was working for the Israeli embassy. So, of course, he was targeted because of Zionism, because he was, and the guy, didn't know that, but
he's not even Jewish. Well, that shows you that it's not just Jews that are going to get killed. It's going to be a lot of right-leaning Christians who are going to be subject to this.
And Sarah Milgram, from what I've read, she probably was very sympathetic to the Palestinian cause. She was a very, on the left side of the political spectrum, and so he ends up killing a Christian and a Jew who probably would have been far more left-leaning than you or me. So like it's indiscriminate. So.
Now, I want you to repeat what you said in Pastor Pat's church about what happens to Jews after let's say a Holocaust for a couple of decades, and then what happens when it changes.
Right. So I think what happens, like the Holocaust was such a stunning event that I think even the Jew haters were stunned by how much success they had, and they kind of went under their rocks. And the world was very sympathetic towards Jews. We had a state in 1948. Even Russia voted for it. There was a lot of sympathy. But what happens is that after time that wears off, and then the world reverts back to the norm of history, which is the Jews are one of the most persecuted people in the world. It's the world's longest and greatest hatred. And once Zionism became the target of the haters, they say, oh, we don't hate Jews. We hate Zionism. We hate Israel. Right. And once those guys have come out from under their rock, then there's no putting that back. There's no putting it back. There's no putting the cat back in the bag. And that's sort of the situation that we find ourselves in. And I'm concerned, I think I mentioned this on Sunday, that my wife was speaking to a group of American rabbis who had come to visit Israel, and they were expressing how their sympathy towards Israel. And she said to them, I have to be honest with you, I'm more worried about you guys than you are about us, because I think Israel, we're doing what we need to do. It's getting better and better all the time. And the problem is, in the United States, it's getting more and more difficult for Jews, and it's probably not going to be getting any better. It's only getting worse. And so, there's a lot of red flags. And what happened this week, this shooting in front of a Jewish event, in front of a museum of the Bible, killing 2 people from the Israeli embassy. And, if these were black people, or if they were women being targeted, I think the outrage would be unbelievable. We're already seeing the justifications. Go into social media and you'll see, well, what did you expect? They were Zionists. What do you expect? They're starving people in Gaza. What do you expect? And you already see the channels
that are already protecting this guy.
Right. It's like October 7th.
It's sort of like they're saying, well, maybe they had it coming. You see? Now, what is the special deal with the war and it being misunderstood by all these people in the media, where it comes off as being, well, yeah, now it's like turned over, like we're responsible now for Hamas.
Right.
And we're responsible for war injuries, for starvation,
right.
all this, and Correct. For genocide. How what is the population situation there? Have we been killing people with genocide there?
No, look, the population has increased. Population is 2.1 million in Gaza. And even according to the Hamas death tolls, 54,000. That's 2.5% of the population. It's a very small number. If we wanted to commit genocide, believe me, we could do it in no time. 54,000 people killed in the span of 18 months, a year and a half. In war, it's a tiny number, and most of those are combatants. And like, for example, Israel this week posted in a neighborhood, Khan Yunis, they posted photographs for the local population saying, these is where the terrorists are, and this is what we're going to attack. So get out. If you're in those buildings, steer clear of them. And they were posting photographs. Israel hasn't, I don't know if we've ever actually done that, of the buildings that we're about to attack. I mean, we're insane, to be honest with you. I think, someone wrote this week, the new offensive in Israel, they named it they called the mission Gideon's Chariot. So someone said, I'm tired of these cute names. Let's finish them off. Let's call it, that's what we should call the mission. Let's finish them off. And it's just dragging, and we're just playing into the hands of our enemies, and let it be done. Pull the Band-Aid off. Give it everything you got, and let's finish this.
Now, Trump has announced the building of a dome to protect us, just like Israel has a dome from, he's saying, look, we have no way of protecting ourselves right now from a nuclear hit. So you guys took it on. Who made it up? Ronald Reagan. And who prevented it from happening? Joe Biden, of all people. Gee,
look,
the gift that
the country is so big. I don't think, obviously Donald Trump didn't mean to build a physical dome. It's a dome that works, with what we have, the Iron Dome system. But, one thing that Israel has learned is that when you build a great defensive system, nobody has sympathy for you because nobody's dying, And had we not had the Iron Dome and Israelis were dying in wholesale numbers, we might have more sympathy. But what's happening?
In order to be popular, we have to die.
You got to die.
Why is that?
There's a title of a book that came out, not long ago. It's maybe a year or two ago, called "The World Loves Dead Jews." They don't love when Jews fight back. They want us to be the victim. They want us to, and then we can get some sympathy if we're willing to die. It's like,
that's why I love you. I like to fight.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to fight like that, but I like to fight back. I mean, if people are going to pick on me, I'm going to fight back.
Right. It's like when Hamas says we want to kill all of you, and they want us to negotiate. What do we say? How about just kill half of us? How do you negotiate with that?
But you already got hostages, and you won't give them back. So what are we negotiating about here?
Right. What do we say? We'll meet you halfway. We'll let you kill half the country.
Half the hostages, and we'll be fine. Yeah, that's crap.
Right. It's not about land, this battle, and that's what people think. It's not about land. It's a religious war.
I think it's about land. I think they want to kill every Jew from the river to the sea.
Right. So
they're going to take over. This is
correct.
This is not this is not fighting for a second government. This is fighting to take it all.
Right. And it's what I mean. It's not about land, meaning that they want to have a state alongside of Israel. They want a jihadi caliphate that goes from Israel to the United States and back. They want the entire world to be under Sharia law, and that's how they see it. It's not a battle of land, meaning that they said if we only had our country, we'd live in peace. It's not about two states. It's not about the land. It's about their warped mentality. And if America doesn't wake up and see this as a wake-up call, it's going to end up like France. Everybody, McDonald's is going to be halal before you know it.
I don't know if they care too much about two Jews dying, but if
they don't see it as a symbol.
They ought to be concerned about it, because it could just happen to Christians or anyone else.
Yeah, 100%. Before you know it, you're going to be serving halal at your McDonald's, because the population's going to demand it, and you're going to have
There you go, because they're having a lot of babies. Your point about babies is really, really interesting, because what are we doing? We're committing genocide upon ourselves by not having babies.
Right. I know in Europe it's even less than the United States.
Yeah, they're killing themselves.
Birth rate.
Killing the countries. Right. And in Europe, they're taking in all sorts of Islamic people, and they're having a lot of kids, and it's a long term. It's a long term way to win over the world.
I just looked it up here. The United States birth rate steadily declined over the last 15 years. It's at 1.6. They're literally doubling that. You bring in 500,000 Muslims into the country that are giving birth at a rate of 3.5. They're gonna, in 10 years, 20 years, it's gonna be like France.
Sure. What already is, you see a big difference between now and a decade ago.
Right.
So it's incredible. How on the political side of the 10/7 massacre, how is Israel doing? Colleges, politicians, things like that. Are they doing? Are they doing anything well?
Do you mean in Israel or abroad?
Yeah, Israel.
Israel. So of course, we have our left wing, like you do, and in the colleges, and not so much the colleges, but more in the streets of Tel Aviv. You have people protesting, end the war at all costs, and meaning even leaving Hamas in power. And we had Yair Golan, who's the head of the left wing here and the left wing parties, who made an absolutely absurd statement that just gave fuel and fodder to the haters around the world.
Yeah.
When he says to the extent that Israel likes killing babies, it's like, it's one thing when you have an anti-Semite thing, when you have someone who was in the IDF that is in the opposition of the government saying like that, you're just feeding right into these lies. And boy, he took so much heat here in Israel, but nobody cares about that. He's being quoted all over Al Jazeera and all that. So,
Palestinian plans. This is a way of turning this around a little bit, because Palestinian clans look to join the Abraham Accords after the 10-7 war. Do you know anything about that?
The Palestinian, I know Saudi Arabia was.
Well, yeah, but I'm talking about Palestinians. It's in the, I believe it's in the JP, the Jerusalem Post.
Really?
Yeah,
I had not heard that, but I mean, look,
I was shocked.
That would be a shocker, and I don't think I would trust them as part of it. There'd have to be a lot of confidence building measures, but at the moment, I don't think I would trust Syria either. Again, there would have to, 6 months ago, their leaders were part of Al Qaeda. It's
well, Trump seems to think that he's going to. He took away all the sanctions from.
Yeah, well, look,
and they're all celebrating this. And he says, you know what? I don't like this guy, but he is what he is, and I can talk to him. He can talk to me, and I can show him a different way to do things. And
he gave him a list of things, Trump.
Yeah.
Saying if you meet all these things, which I don't think he would, but he gave them a path. He gave them a path to normalization with Israel. He gave them a path. We'll see. Like one thing Jews is that we are very hopeful. As much as we might have to be suspicious of our enemies in this area, but we're hopeful that maybe one day, like Libya, Libya was a big enemy of Israel, and then they just decided to give up all their nuclear ambitions. They gave it up in a moment's notice, So, not saying we became friends with Libya, but they no longer became a threat in this region.
Sure.
So
and now they want to put a million from Gaza.
Gazans there. Yeah,
that's going to be interesting.
I'm okay with
the Iran deal. The chances are what? Bibi and Trump were talking. Negotiations are going on right now.
Look, I think they're slipping away. They're in their fifth round now. The foreign minister of Iran had said, we could agree to no nuclear weapons, but yes, we will enrich. But the United States says no enrichment. They're enriching to 60%, which is way beyond what they need for nuclear power, which I think is only 30%. So that's a sticking point.
Where are they going with this? Because Trump will break them. He will make broke again.
Yeah.
Right.
So
I think there's going to be something done. They're not stupid, okay? They're smart enough to understand that this is.
It's not always about being stupid. They don't always do what's in their best interest. I know that sounds crazy, but that's how the Middle East works.
Well, if they go broke, they're going to have a big problem, and I don't know. Maybe they're waiting for the next Democrat to come in or what?
Look, I think in many ways they would rather go broke than broker a deal.
Okay, you got any Rabbi rants or scoops?
I already think I gave you my rant at the beginning, but
any scoops? Where's our friend? What's his name? Damn it,
Ron Dermer.
Ron Dermer, yeah. What's he doing?
What's he doing now?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's probably having lunch. No, no, it's 5 o'clock, so I don't think he'd be having lunch. So.
You call a rabbi schmuck? I don't know.
I
I wouldn't dare do that.
I would stick with putts. I don't know.
Putts, okay. That's what I do on the golf course. Putts.
Yeah.
Anyways, other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find you and buy your book?
Go to our website, secretsofthehebrew.org. You can get this book even if you can't read Hebrew. This book will connect you and introduce you to the Hebrew Bible in ways that you never would believe. So get
in
yourself
English.
a copy.
It's English, but it has Hebrew in it.
Exactly.
Right.
And
also, where can people contribute to you?
Go to our website, israelalliance.org or facebook.com/Israel Alliance. This week we had an amazing event, I'll tell you.
Yeah.
We did in Hebrew it's called Yom Tzilumim, which means we invited widows to come to a beautiful, beautiful park, and we had 10 volunteer photographers to take pictures of them and their kids. Remember, because all the pictures they have are them and their husband and their kids, and now they need new pictures of their new families. And so there's a lot of pain behind the pictures, but there's a lot of creative new memories. And it was a really wonderful day in the park, and we had a balloon guy for the kids.
Yeah.
We brought in an ice cream truck and pizza. It was a really, really wonderful event. So that was a lot of fun. So I see a little message here from Pastor Pat.
Yeah.
It was
Rabbi
great
Moshe,
to see you as well.
Sure enjoyed your trip to our church. It was a great meeting. So so good to see you and Ariel. And Ari. Well, there's exclamation points, so it looks like an L.
Yeah.
Your speech and teaching was excellent. I would agree with that. And
we enjoyed having you stay with us too. We're sorry it was so abbreviated.
Yeah.
We'd like to visit you for sure.
How did your grandson do in the tournament?
He didn't do, he's a freshman out there, and some of these kids out there are really good. Now we're talking about state, and some of them are really good. But he didn't, he didn't do good the first day, and the second day he did great. He shot an 86 the second day. And that's pretty tough. That would have been one of the better scores for almost the whole tournament. And it's a freshman. He's hitting the ball like he hit a 3-wood about 270 yards. He was told by a coach, "Yeah, go ahead and hit it." And there were other kids on the green. He figured he's going to be about 50 yards short. He puts it on the green, and the guy, nobody said anything. But that was.
Did you say you said he shot an 86?
Yeah.
That anything to do with Comey from the FBI?
Yeah, he 86'd it, right?
86, 47. I don't know.
Oh my God! Yeah, that's what he was thinking when he shot that. He was really shooting an 84. He says, "I gotta send a message." No,
yeah.
There you go. Did you hear about the man who killed Tony the Tiger? He was arrested, and in the investigation proved that he was a serial killer. Serial killer. All right, Rabbi.
Got it. Yeah.
Great to see you.
All right, guys.
You too.
You got it.
Kid you got still in war. All right.
All right. It was great to see you guys
soon. Thank you.
Okay.
All right.
All the best. Bye-bye.
All the best. We got to do a commercial here, and we're going to be right back. And we got other things to do. And then at 9:30, we got the McCloskeys, and that's going to be something else, because we're talking about now they're going to be able to get all the information from the 1-6 committee. They have been subpoenaed, I believe, for all the information, for all the stuff they lied about, for all the BS that went on, and we're going to see some major hitbacks because of what Ryan Zink did.
Yeah, and what about the surveillance footage? Is that included as well?
I think so.
Ooh,
yeah,
this could be intriguing.
Oh my God! And the judge, he's in trouble. Boasberg, remember that name? And he was out there, telling Trump you can't send these people back to their home countries. Remember that? Okay, and he sort of shut his mouth now because the Supreme Court ruled on that. All right, we're going to be back in a little while. Don't touch the dial. We don't have a dial, but it sounds good. Here, we'll be back, and we'll do some more fun stuff. Here you go.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank termite and pest control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank from out of his control will save the day.
Honey, what are you doing?
What does it look like I'm doing?
It looks like you're filling up a swimming pool.
Yep, I'm filling up a swimming pool.
In our living room?
How else am I going to watch the game and stay cool?
If your AC is on the fritz, call Hartley's Climate Control. Hartley's is the area's best in HVAC repairs, installs, and maintenance. Knowledgeable, honest, and dependable. Serving Rolla and the surrounding areas for commercial or residential needs. Hartley's Climate Control. Community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about koi sushi and hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is two words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle, you don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments, that's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day. Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our number one goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
At your locally owned Price Chopper, our standards are high because we know yours are. See for yourself what an incredible fresh selection of grocery items we have in store. Talk to our expert meat associates about what you're looking for. They're happy to meet any special requests like custom cuts, or see our expert produce associates on how to pick out the best fruits and vegetables. Quality in the deli means fresh, full flavor, and always delicious. If you're craving fresh baked goodness, we have that too. You can expect the best selection and the best value while interacting with our friendly and knowledgeable employees. You can find what you're looking for fast and easily at the best prices at Price Chopper. Fresh savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have. Gotta reach 'em, see it right now. Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
At Town & Country Bank, we've got all the perks of a national bank, like online banking, quick loan approval, and you can deposit your check from your phone. But that's not why our customers love us. They love us because we still offer hometown customer service. Stop by one of our 2 Rolla locations and let our friendly team remind you how special hometown banking can be. We're locally owned and will take the time to understand your needs. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC. Equal housing lender.
Okay, we're back on the show. And thank you for all the happy wishes about our marriage and 5-6 years together. I'm glad she's not in the room right now because she'd probably slap me. We got some pretty flowers over there. Brought to you by Summer, golly, what's her last name? Chapman. Huh? Chapman. Summer Chapman. I got it right. Okay. Well, it used to be other things. Hell, at one time it was Weinbaum, right? We have an interesting situation here. We have my son has that was my son's wife, Summer. They divorced. She remarried. She was Summer Cyrus then, and then she remarried again, and now she's Chapman. And my son now has changed his name to Brennan Lewis. So his name is Aaron Lewis Weinbaum. I don't know how that happened, but I was lying about that. I don't care. Anyways, what? I need to stop? Why? I thought it was pretty funny. Okay. And what are you carrying? Cottage cheese or what? And tomatoes. Okay, my wife is going to eat now. She's gonna make funny noises on the side.
I'm going to wait.
Okay, let's do a couple more clips, and let's do some funny stuff after that. Okay, hit it.
In less than 4 months, our new administration has achieved more than most other administrations accomplish in 4 years or even 8 years. We've actually done, for the most part, more. The day I took office, we inherited, thank you. Thank you. The day I took office, we inherited a colossal invasion on our southern border, an invasion like you'd never want to see here. Nobody should ever want to see it. But within weeks, we slashed illegal border crossings to an all-time low, down 99.999%. That's good. Even for this great gentleman standing right in front of me. That's a good number. After years of military recruiting shortfalls, enlistments in the U.S. Armed Forces are now the highest in 30 years because there is such an incredible spirit in the United States of America. We have tremendous spirit again. Just about a year ago, it was a big story, front page on every paper all over the world, that nobody wanted to enlist in our military, meaning we were way under enlisted. And just last week it came out that we had the strongest enlistment. They say 30 years, but probably it's maybe ever. They don't go back that far. It's the best, and that includes police officers, firemen, everything else. Is a great spirit in the United States right now.
You know, there's a 10-year delay in the Soviet Union of delivery of an automobile. And you go through quite a process when you're ready to buy, and then you put up the money in advance. This man, he laid down his money, and then the fellow that was in charge said to him, okay, come back in 10 years and get your car. And he said, morning or afternoon? And the fellow behind the counter said, well, 10 years from now, what difference does it make? And he said, well, the plumber's coming in the morning.
When I was a little boy in New York City in the 1940s, we swam in the Hudson River, and it was filled with raw sewage, okay? We swam in raw sewage, to cool off. And at that time, the big fear was polio. Thousands of kids died from polio every year. But you know something? In my neighborhood, no one ever got polio. No one, ever. You know why? Because we swam in raw sewage. It strengthened our immune systems. The polio never had a prayer. We were tempered in raw shit. So personally, I never take any special precautions against germs. I don't shy away from people who sneeze and cough. I don't wipe off the telephone. I don't cover the toilet seat. And if I drop food on the floor, I pick it up and eat it. I eat it.
Okay, well, we're back on the show. Shortly, we're going to have the McCloskeys on and some updates from yesterday. Putin and Zelensky were in a war-ending conference. Now, both of them have done something, I think, that looks good. Like they're gonna trade prisoners back and forth. That sounds like a good sign, doesn't it? What do you think, JP?
I don't know. It could be. These kind of deals that they can go wrong, they go bad. From what I've heard, I think it sounds like I think it might work, but
I can't see them wanting to go through this. And Trump is going to put pressure on both of them. He's got a lot of pressure that he can put on Zelensky, obviously, because he's at the low end of this deal. And I know that Putin invaded, but he invaded because of who? The Biden administration, for God's sakes.
Yep.
The guy even said, "Yeah, command, don't do too much damage, but yeah, a brief war, yeah, that'll be fine." Yeah, he let him right in the front door.
Yep.
Trump is going to put sanctions on the guy. He has a lot of things he can do. He can shut down one of their major industries, which is oil.
To me, when seeing Zelensky, the way he turned a complete about face, it was a full 360-degree turn from when he visited the White House.
Well, yeah,
all that went on, how he was acting to then days later, okay, let's do the deal.
Yeah, it seems like he's
Trump
desperate for a deal, which also means that Putin is going to put a little pressure, more pressure on him because he's in the bird's seat right there, But I don't think after this period of time he's going to keep some of the things that he achieved in Ukraine. He's going to get to keep it. All right, that's the problem that Joe Biden caused. All right, but what's going to happen is I think they have a deal now for the minerals that are worth billions of dollars in the dirt of Ukraine, of all things. And if they have those, you're going to have, if the United States has rights to those, we're going to have United States people in there working these mines. So I think we're going to have a hand up there. And in Israel, if we have Israel going to be run by the United States, going to be fixed by the United States and Israel in a partnership, you're going to have Americans there. You're going to have tourists there. Gaza has an opportunity. It's in one of the nicest places on earth. It wasn't the Jews' fault that Gaza was used as a fort with tunnels all over the place.
I continue to be just flabbergasted by the narrative that I read. I was very high at one point on Candace Owens months ago. As a matter of fact, at one point I thought she'd be a great VP choice for Trump in this last
I told
race.
her that.
And
she liked it.
Yeah, and I remember you bringing up several times that her rhetoric had completely changed. Well, I don't get on Twitter and all that very much. Well, I've got a Twitter account. I don't really use it. So I reactivated it last night and started looking around. And all of a sudden, Candace Owens starts popping up. And all the rhetoric, well, what do you expect? Of course these murders happen whenever you're having genocide in Gaza. And I'm like, there we go. There it is again. Where is this coming from? It is just...
She's a smart person. I don't understand why she's doing it.
No.
She's a smart person. She was saying a lot of smart things. And she was actually liking some of the stuff I was doing. And I was telling her that, she should be the vice president, eventually maybe even president. And she was loving all that. And all of a sudden she turned on the Jews.
Yep.
I don't understand. And it's such an obvious.
We have some local people that I know, some that I thought I knew well, that have began to really show their anti-Semitic ways, and it's
blatantly.
Yeah, it's just it's astonishing, honestly.
They're calling him out on it too, and he still just argues and refuses to see what he's doing.
In other words, we're not going to name any of these people. Okay.
Well, it wouldn't matter. He changes his Facebook name every month or so.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's somebody else that he actually did at one time sub for me one time on this show. Yeah. It's been probably 2 or 3 years ago now at this point, and it's just actually been very interesting to see how things have changed. Yeah,
people who, I do. Most of this audience is Christian. Okay. Sure, I go out to different countries and all that stuff and all over the world, but the major audience is Christian, and Christians, they want you to believe in Jesus as the Savior, and Jews, a lot of us, like me and the rabbi and others, say, wait a minute. God told us in the 10 Commandments that we were only to pray for one God, and somehow Christians have taken that and said, well, that there is only one God, but it's in 3 different forms. So it's confusing to us Jews that see that, and then that's the reason they want us to change, because it doesn't, in our minds, if there's going to be a change, God's going to have to say, this is what I'd like you to do. And he hasn't said it. Okay. And we don't believe God is 3 people or three lives. And I know you're a Christian, and,
right. Yep.
And I understand where you're coming from, but at least you guys ain't pushing us.
No, but and the other thing too is that, and this is part of what Rabbi Moshe's mission has been, and now of course that's evolved because look what he's doing now. Right. But the core, what started all was bringing everybody together under what the shared belief is, and just like when we were together last Sunday afternoon, a few of us were prepared in case anything went down, and we would have given our life to protect whoever. It didn't matter who it was.
Yeah.
And so, because that's what we believe in. So,
well, your mother is a great example of a Christian who is a friend of Jews and understand that we're all kind of like in the same group, for goodness sakes. Yeah, there's some differences, but why would we want to go against each other? I mean, look, in the old days, Christians did a lot of damage to Jews, and there's still a lot of people out there that don't like Jews who happen to be Christian.
Yep.
But all in all, it's the same religion. I mean, I love it when I hear Christians, and I do listen to them, and when they're talking about the Old Testament, it's very refreshing to hear that, because it's Judaism. Okay? That's Judaism. That's the Torah.
I'm doing a Bible plan right now where I read every day, trying to read the Bible in about a year and a half, the full Bible. I just started Exodus this morning, and I just started reading about Moses again. And I just read in Genesis before that, from Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, that whole lineage to Joseph and all that happened there in Egypt. And so now we're on to Moses. And of course, of the story of how he's going to eventually be led by God to take the Israelites out of Egypt to the Red Sea. It's just cool getting to go back, because again, the whole thing is, for those of us that are Christians and believe in Jesus, yes, but Jesus was a Jew.
Jesus was a Jew.
And our faith is derived from Judaism. That's just how it is.
He followed all the commandments from the Lord, including praying to the Lord as a singular God, and the only God. All right. So, and it hasn't changed, but others will interpret it differently because they have Mother Mary and they have Jesus. And right, honey? She's not going to talk about it because she's a minister. You see.
Stop that.
Okay.
I'm a
Stop
Christian.
what?
I'm a
Yes,
Christian.
yes.
Yes.
And I'm a Jew, and we're married.
Correct.
Right.
We have to agree to disagree respectfully.
I'm fine with that.
Okay.
Yes.
Very good.
You're not mad at me because I'm not going to
sign
be
up for another year then.
Wait a minute. What happens at the end of the year?
And the contract verbal agreement is legally binding. We have it recorded as well. So
that sounds like a threat. I mean, if you don't change,
depends on how well you do in the next year, I guess.
Well, no, it depends on whether I convert or not, because that's her function, is to get Jews to turn Christian, and she's not going to work with me. It's in there. I read it. Yeah, tell me I'm wrong.
You're taking it a bit far.
Okay, but I'm not wrong.
Nobody says that that's our goal in life.
I thought I read
go out
it
and find Jewish people and convert them.
And
Nobody.
I think
that
it's
is not stated anywhere.
I think it's written on the sword that she got.
We are supposed to share the good news with others, but not convert Jews specifically.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
there's a lot of unbelievers that are out there that we just need to convert. Period. That are just people in this world that don't.
And here we go, Rico Camino. Good morning, and I saw a flicker. Oh my gosh, we got a full house there. Hey, we have a full house. Wow, I'm so happy she's there.
Yeah. I twisted her arm
with you.
Dave misses you. You got to be on the program.
Turn him up. I don't know. He's a little shy, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, the McCloskeys, Pat, Patricia, and Mark, stood off 350 BLM and Antifa, who breached his home and threatened to rape his wife and kill them both, and has gone on to be famous for the fact that he stood up for his rights. He didn't run away like a scared baby. He stood for his rights and his property. And they're still not only are they alive and well, but they have the most interesting things they're doing right now. Please welcome, all the way, I believe, from St. Louis, Mark and Pat McCloskey. Well, welcome back, Patricia. Have you been keeping the boat going while he was lollygagging around, or what?
Exactly. What the heck of a boat it is now, because we got hit by a hurricane.
Tornado.
Oh, did you get personally hit?
Well, no, our house was spared, but the neighborhood looks like an H-bomb has gone off.
No.
Houses lost parts of their roofs, their chimneys. Some of the houses had trees go right through them.
Wow.
Almost all of our trees are gone. I mean, 100-year-old oak trees just snapped off midstream or pulled out of the ground. So it's been an interesting. We still don't have power at the house. We're doing this from the office because now it's the 8th day without electricity there.
Do you have a generator?
Not here at the farm. We do. It's that our house. The generator would be the size of a car. So we we've just been living in the dark, as they say. But people say I've been in the dark my entire life. So
okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that, and I hope everything comes out all right. But I'm glad you called, because there's so much stuff going on here, especially with you and the 1/6er.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I've
been doing nothing but January 6th now since January.
A lot of stuff here. So you and Peter Tickton. Now, who's Peter Tickton?
Who is? Peter Tickton is he and Donald Trump were roommates in military school when they were kids, and then Peter went on to become an attorney, and Peter's been Trump's personal lawyer and friend ever since. And he's a good guy to have on the team. In other words, he's got the big guys here. Okay,
and you're both working to seek compensation for 1/6 defendants, including Ryan Zink.
Absolutely.
What is the relationship between you and Zink?
Well, I ran into Jeff when he was running for Congress the first time on your program, Mr. Weinbaum.
On my program, right? Hey, I had something to do with this. All right, I knew there was something.
And then we had breakfast out in Phoenix one time. We were out there, met Jeff and his wife, and then Ryan and I met down at Eagle Pass, Texas, when we were down there for the truckers rally a year or so ago, and we just became friends. But I've been following a lot of the J6ers. A guy named Derek Evans, who'd been on my program. I don't know if he's ever been on yours, but he was running for Congress in West Virginia when he got January 6th, and he got nixed by 6, as they say. And yeah,
you guys are coming up with slogans.
Oh yeah, hey, midstream here. I never used that one before. But they're having a J6 reunion today and tomorrow in Fredericksburg, Texas, which is about an hour north of San Antonio. I didn't learn about it in time to be there. There's going to be one out in Springfield, Missouri, on July the 6th, which is so. Any J6ers out there, it's going to be a good reunion. We sent a whole bunch of packets of sign-up packets down to Jenny Cudd in Fredericksburg for all the J6ers out there that might want to sign up this weekend. At the reunion where unfortunately I'm not going to be there.
Well, clearly you believe that crimes were committed by the Biden-Obama administration on 1/6/21. What are the specific crimes you're addressing?
Well, I'll give you a flavor for what happened. If you came from the ellipse to hear President Trump's speech and you went to the east side of the Capitol, you showed up. Capitol police officers were holding the doors open, having people walk in, waving them in like this, and then shaking their hands, fist bumping them, high-fiving them, getting selfies taken with them. If you walked in there for even 6 seconds, we've got one guy who was in for 6 seconds. Then sometime down the road, the FBI wakes you up at 6 o'clock in the morning with kicking your door in. You open the door. There's 30 SWAT guys in full combat gear. You got laser dots all over you from their sights. Your 4-year-old kids have got laser dots all over.
There are tanks in your yard.
Tanks in your yard. Helicopters flying around. Misdemeanor trespass charges for which they haul you off to jail. Some people did 6 months. A lot of people did 6 months in federal prison for misdemeanor trespass after the cops waved them into the Capitol building. And there are people that got, if you actually did anything like you resisted being killed, at about 2:20 p.m. on January 6th, when there's about 1 million people around the Capitol building, all of a sudden, Capitol Police and Metro cops, for no apparent reason, started launching grenades into the crowd, rubber bullets. And one guy got if you think rubber bullets are harmless, there's one guy get with a rubber bullet right through his cheek and knocked out his teeth, right? Big hole in the side of his face. Those flashbang grenades are not benign things. They were blowing people's faces off. I mean, they're explosive devices. And then they started tear gassing. This is a fun part. At about 2:20, the Metro cops start releasing tear gas, but the wind's blowing towards them. And so they just gassed all themselves, and then everybody went berserk. If a cop hit you with a truncheon, which they started doing right then, if you put your hand up to block it, if the truncheon hits your hand, that was described as assault on a police officer.
That you were assaulting the police officer, right?
If they got a still picture of your hand on a baton like that, that was, you got charged with assault with a dangerous or deadly weapon on a federal officer. That got you years in prison. There were some guys who spent 1,400 days in prison. Some guys did 1,100 days in solitary confinement for doing essentially nothing. We represent one guy named Derek Vargo. He was trying to set up a big Trump flag. The cop just comes. He's 30 feet up on the steps, just shoves him for no reason, knocks him down 30 feet, broke both his legs, head injury, whole business. I mean, and I guarantee you.
Well, how do you have the greeting crowd who is waving everybody in, bumping hands, and they're the cops, the same cops now in the next part of the building. What kind of a show is this where they're beating you up all of a sudden?
Well, and that's what everybody we've talked to said, that they get invited in. For whatever reason, there were no restrooms anywhere, even though there were 1 million people on the mall. Everybody's trying to find a restroom. I can't tell you how many J6s I've talked to that came into the Capitol just to be able to use the restroom and would ask the cop on the way in, where's the toilet? And he'd show them where you go down here, you take a right, then you take a left, use the toilets. And then all of a sudden, somebody gave the command to start beating people. And all of a sudden, the cops start clubbing everybody.
There's no command to leave the area. It was just straight attack by the police.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's just
amazing.
They lured him in, then they beat him, and then they charged him with felonies for defending themselves.
And where were the lawyers that were supposed to be able to represent people before they went to jail?
Well, here's the best part of it, right? Almost all the public defenders were Democrats that told our clients, "You deserve to be in prison. You should confess that you're all insurrectionists. You belong in jail." And the judges in almost all these cases would say at sentencing. Here's another part, right? If you got charged with assaulting a police officer, which almost everybody did, the police officer would never come in to testify at your trial, right, or your plea hearing. They would say, "I don't remember this guy. No, he never touched me." And then at sentencing, those exact same officers would come in. This is after you plead guilty. Then the cops come in at sentencing and say, "He beat me severely and wounded." That gets you 5 more years, right?
So it was all a setup.
It was all a setup. It was
all a setup. Who was behind it?
We don't know yet, but I guarantee you we're going to find out. And now with Ed Martin in his position as the weaponization czar, I guarantee you we're going to find that there's a paper trail going up to Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray and maybe the White House, whoever was acting as president during
I don't think there's any doubt that Nancy Pelosi had something to do with this.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I guarantee you we're going to find a paper trail where somebody issued the edict that the J6 defendants shall be treated more harshly in the manner of their arrests, the manner of their persecution, and the manner of their imprisonment than any other similar charged defendants in the history of America. I mean, the FBI doesn't investigate misdemeanors. The FBI doesn't arrest people for misdemeanors. Misdemeanor defendants don't go to federal prison unless you're January 6th. Then you've got 35 FBI officers in riot gear with tanks in your front yard, helicopters circling your house, machine guns pointed at your entire family, and then you go to federal prison for misdemeanor trespass.
This is bound to involve abuses and financial persecution of 1/6ers and hearings in Congress. What evidence are you gathering to prove these claims, and how do you plan to present it?
Well, here's a fun thing. The government faked evidence. The government hid evidence. The government doctored videos and doctored photos. There are people that were said that they were police officers who are in the same location being beaten by the same guy, even though there's video evidence that they were on opposite sides of the Capitol at that time, could not possibly have been where they testified they were. Right. I mean, there's voluminous evidence, and Peter Tickton, I believe, has got video going back to September of 2020, where a video conference where people are setting it up and planning the people from the Biden administration.
They're rehearsing it.
Yeah.
They're rehearsing.
They're setting up
September of 2020.
Yeah, just planning it
for the election.
Oh yeah.
Wow. So they were planning to destroy the Republicans and their followers back before the election.
The game plan was to stage, what they wanted. I've said this the whole time I was running for Senate too. What the left really wants is a Kent State type situation where they've got some bodies on the ground they can put on television and say that these bodies are the result of white Republican extremism and put us all in concentration camps. But the real purpose of January 6th was to stage a, quote, insurrection by the government against the people, and then be able to call Trump an insurrectionist and prohibit him from being president again under the 14th Amendment. I believe that was the real setup. The secondary purpose of it was to intimidate the rest of the American people to say, if you stand up for your rights, if you protest the election, we will harass you, we will swat you, we will prosecute you, we'll imprison you, we will ruin your life. None of these people get a job anymore. If they get a job, first of all, essentially everybody got fired the day they got arrested. Now that even after they've been pardoned, they get a job, somebody calls up 2 days later and says, I'm sorry, we've Googled you, you're a terrorist, you're fired. Yeah.
Well, both you and Tickton have suggested an insurrection occurred on 1/6/21. Please clarify on what you meant by that for clients like Ryan Zink.
Well, it's an insurrection by the government. It was a coup.
Okay, so you were talking about the insurrection as a crime from the people that were persecuted and prosecuted. You're talking about it from the government.
Absolutely.
The insurrection.
A conspiracy from the highest levels of the government to violate the protesters' constitutional rights and to intimidate the American people and Every single one of these people, when they're being offered a plea deal, they say, look, you plead guilty to these misdemeanors or these felonies, or we will go to prison for the rest of your life. But if you say Trump sets you up to do this, then we'll give you a lighter sentence. Everybody was told that if they fabricate evidence against Donald Trump, they'll get a lighter sentence.
And was that true?
No, it's not true. And nobody.
Was it true that they got a lighter sentence? After
nobody rolled on Trump. Nobody.
Oh, if you roll on, nobody rolled on Trump. That's
we're like honest, God-fearing, law-abiding Republicans. People said a lot of people went to trial rather than plead guilty because they said we cannot, in good conscience, perjure ourselves by pleading guilty to a crime we didn't commit.
Well, as an example of the judges, tell us about Judge Boasberg, and how you'll handle him during legal proceedings.
Well, here's the thing, and all the lawyers listening to this will understand this. All judges have to be lawyers. All lawyers have to obey the rules of ethics. Rules of ethics say that if you're a fact finder, if you're the judge, or if you're the judge for a jury tried case, you can't make an opinion about the ultimate issue, guilt or innocence, until you've heard all the evidence, right? Every jury is instructed, don't make up your mind, don't discuss this case until you've heard all the evidence. What Judge Boasberg and a lot of these other judges up there in the DC circuit called our clients criminals, insurrectionists, seditionists, treasonous criminals before they'd heard any of the evidence. And that's that is as unconstitutional and as un-American as you could possibly get. And then at sentencing, I can't tell you how many times I've heard this. The judge says, look, you didn't do anything wrong, but I have to make an example out of you, right? So here's your sentence. I'm not punishing you for what you actually did, but I'm making an example out of you to warn other people not to do the same thing.
So what's the ultimate goal here?
Three things. There's three. We got to find out exactly who set all this up, find all the people involved. Ed Martin said this on Maria Bartiromo's show 2 days ago. Got to find all the people that were responsible for setting this up.
And by the way, he's got a list of 5,000 FBI agents that are on that list to go after.
Then you got to prosecute.
Wait a minute. Wait. I'm not sure I understood that, Pat. You're saying that 5,000 FBI now who are with Cash and Bongino, that they're going to be put on the other FBI guys and others in the Biden administration who did this.
Yeah.
5,000 people that are FBI agents are going to be put on a list or prosecuted for what they did.
Okay.
They are going to be outed for what they did, to either shame them and dox them, or they're actually going to be criminally prosecuted, 5,000 of them, for what they did on J6.
Well, their response was, "Hey, I'm in the FBI. I have to listen to orders."
So here's a game plan, Dave. You get the FBI agent who's holding his machine gun on a 4-year-old kid, and you say to him, "What kind of a reprehensible bastard are you to hold a machine gun on a 4-year-old?" And he's going to say, "I was ordered to do it." Okay, who ordered you to do it? I'll take his deposition, right? And then, Mr. I told him to do it. What kind of a reprehensible bastard are you to order your FBI agent to hold a machine gun on a 4-year-old? And he said, it wasn't me, it was him. I take that deposition. We go up the chain until we hit Merrick Garland. Hey, here's an interesting thing. I was just reading a book by a state senator from Oklahoma that we met on the campaign on the Murrah building bombing in Oklahoma City. Do you know who the U.S. attorney was that arraigned Timothy McVeigh?
Was it Boasberg?
Merrick Garland.
Merrick Garland? Oh, my God. Yeah, he's turned out to be a real winner, hasn't he?
Yeah, so that's how far back it goes.
Marcus, whatever his name is.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
Been part of the conspiracy for decades.
So are you gonna start at lower courts and work your way up, or are you gonna go straight to the Supreme Court?
Well, you got to start at the circuit court level, but that's really Ed Martin's job. I mean, I don't know how much you know of Ed Martin, but he's a friend of ours here from St. Louis. Used to be chairman of the Missouri Republican Party. Then he was chief of staff for a Republican governor. He ran Phyllis Schlafly's Eagle Forum. Really great guy. You couldn't ask for a better guy to be in that position. And when Senator Tom Tillis killed his nomination to be the U.S. attorney for D.C., shot himself in the foot, because then Ed moves out of that position into this new job as the weaponization czar to investigate the weaponization of the government. Now he's got broader responsibilities and more authority than he had in the job that Tom Tillis kept him from getting.
Oh, all right. Well, that's cool.
As we say, the Lord moves in mysterious ways.
Yeah. So give me a little bit more update on Ryan, because he's one of the guys, I believe, that he didn't accept the pardon.
Yeah, well, and I don't know, and I've had some conversations with people on that, which I can't disclose, but I can tell you this, that he's one of those guys that got totally screwed by the system. I mean, they sold his indictment to the grand jury by claiming that he was personally responsible for the death of Capitol Officer Brian Sisnick.
Who's they?
Yeah,
who's they?
The prosecutor, the U.S. attorney.
But who did he say? Where was the evidence? Who wasn't there a cop that said he killed Sisnick?
And not just that he killed Brian Sisnick, but that he was also a ringleader of the insurrection. On the first day of trial, the government admits that not only was Ryan not a ringleader of anything, not only did he not kill Officer Sisnick, but he was never even in the Capitol building, right? And so they moved to dismiss him. Boasberg was like, "You're guilty anyway. You can put on your defense if you want to, but you're guilty." I mean,
of what? Of what? I mean, did he make up something?
Well, no, I'll tell you what Ryan did wrong. Ryan photographed the videotape. He was up there videotaping for his dad, Jeff's congressional campaign. He took movies of the insurrectionists, or real insurrectionists, meaning the government agents or the agents provocateur. He had video of himself trying to stop other people from breaking windows and hurting cops. You got video of Ryan saying, "Look, so we're here to support the police, not to hurt them." They seized his cameras, they seized his memory cards, and then when he wanted them back for his appeal, they said, "Oh, we've lost it. It's been destroyed. Oops, our mistake, our bad."
Are you demanding? Do you have requests that you want this evidence back?
We will. I'm not handling that part of it. I don't do any criminal law at all, so I'm not handling that part of it. But he's got good, competent lawyers working on that.
When is this going to blow up in the press? Okay, when is this? I mean, this is it. I mean, we've said things here that nobody's heard yet on anything that I know of.
Yeah.
Even in like X, which is supposedly now clean and able to do things like this. Gateway Pundit, even them too.
Well, they put out some articles. They put out some articles about what we're doing and who's involved in it. I think it's going to take a statement from the mouth of the Trump before this hits the news. And so I'm kind of waiting on that. Ed Martin's new position is very helpful for us. I mean, he's an honest guy. He's not intimidable. But it's going to take the president saying something directly on it before this really gets moving.
What will be the reaction of the Democrats who are they're acting like it right now because they're causing all sorts of damage, and all sorts of these crazy judges are going out and saying taking over the presidency and telling who can be kicked out of the country and who can't. They're acting as presidents. Yeah, there's a lot of them.
I think that when Donald Trump makes a executive order or a decree about compensation for the J6ers, the left is just going to explode. Their heads are going to be boom all over the place. They're going to be like brain matter all over every CNN and MSNBC.
They don't have any brain matter. That's why they're dumb. Come on, man.
You'll hear the sucking vacuum.
There's no brain matter in there.
When their heads open up, it'll just be the sucking vacuum sound as the empty space between their ears.
My Democratic friends in Raleigh, don't hurt me, please.
I can't wait. It'll be so much fun. But they're already screaming about the Ashley Babbitt settlement, right? The lady who was killed in the Capitol by that Capitol police officer. About how can you pay money to this treasonous insurrectionist, right?
Exactly.
She's a 14-year Air Force veteran, unarmed girl, 118-pound girl, and a cop just blows her, puts a bullet right through her for no reason.
She was there goofing around with the cops. She was laughing with these guys.
Yeah.
There were 5 DC police standing right behind her. They could have touched her and pulled her away from the window if that's what they wanted. They didn't have.
Yeah, and what about this Michael Bird? He was the cop, right?
Yeah, he was the cop.
and killed
And
her.
of course, he was declared innocent. Yeah. Yeah,
So-
he was declared innocent the next day, right? The thorough investigation of 24 hours vindicated him.
Well, can you go back on that?
No, it's too late. And in fact, he's been on TV now saying that well, I think it's too late. I heard it was too late. That he saved hundreds of people's lives that day by killing her, because these people were going to go in there and kill hundreds of people.
Oh my God! See, this has to come. This has to come out with the absolute truth. You know what it sounds like to me? Remember when the Nazis had the Reichstag situation in 1933, where Hitler had just lost the 33 election, had got only 8% of the vote or something like that. And so they set up the Reichstag as a place that had been taken over by the communists.
Yeah, they burned the Reichstag in 7 days. In 7 days, they outlawed all human rights in Germany. They took over the press. They took away your right of habeas corpus. They took away your right to be secure in your person and your property, and created absolute martial law 7 days after they set up the Reichstag.
Did they not use that as a model for this? Because it sounds almost exactly like it, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, in fact, I said those exact words on your program.
Yeah.
You know,
I got it from you?
Yes, you did.
I did not. I knew it a long time. I actually came up with that a long. Okay, I'll give it to you if you want. Jeez. I don't want to piss you off, because I want you to do your job with these SOBs, and I want to see some of them going to trial. You don't think the Democrats, some of them are scared to death of having to go to trial? Now coming up with the Biden situation.
Let me give you for instance. For instance, on January the 5th of 2021, Nancy Pelosi had a conversation with Mark Milley, right?
Yeah.
And she says, "You know he's crazy, don't you?" Meaning Trump. And Milley says yes, and she says, "Well, what if he declares war on China?" Milley says, "Well, if he does that, I'll warn the Chinese." Right. Then Milley calls in all of his sub chiefs and has them swear allegiance to him personally. That you will not take orders from anybody but me, not even the president. That was a coup, right? That was a military coup right then. That's treason. That's punishable by death. You know what Pete Hegseth said 2 days ago? What? He's thinking of docking Milley 1 star, and that'll personally affect his retirement income, right? Not hanging. 1 star.
Is that Trump saying, all right, whatever you did, I'm going to kind of forget it?
It has I hope that Ed Martin or Kash Patel go ahead and prosecute him for treason, because and they admit, I mean, Bob Woodward wrote that in his book, right? But they both admitted it actually happened, Pelosi and Milley. And so, having admitted that they engaged in treason, how hard is that to prove, right?
It's easy.
Yeah.
Even I know that. Okay. So that's amazing. And he's going to get away with it, isn't he?
Yeah, he's going to get away with it.
Wow.
Dock him a star. That'll teach him a lesson.
Man. And what do you think about last thing, Comey and his 8/6/47 message from the beach?
Well, you know what it turns out to be, interestingly enough?
Yeah.
That's the number of days since 9/11.
On that day.
Okay, so what is that? Where's the connection?
We don't know. He's going to claim that it had nothing to do with 86/47. It had to do with a memorial to 9/11. That's what he's going to claim.
He didn't do it. He claims he found it somewhere.
Yeah. And I believe that too.
Right. Yeah.
He's the guy that wouldn't lie to us.
He was the head of the FBI, for God's sakes.
I don't know what 86 means. I was born.
Okay. Other than the Dave Weinbaum Show, which you are a star, both of you are stars of, and I like it when Patricia is here to counter the ridiculous remarks you say, sir. Other than Dave Weinbaum Show, where can people find and hire you guys? I guess you're kind of busy right now.
Yeah, we're kind of busy right now. We're still practicing law just on a nationwide basis right now for J6, but it's McCloskeYlaw.com, MCCLOSKEYLAW.com. On Facebook, it's the McCloskey, not McCloskey Mo. On X, it's McCloskey USA. On Rumble, you can still watch my old episodes on Mark McCloskey on Fire. In fact, I think my radio station is probably still playing it like I'm there, even though it's got to be boring since I haven't had any new content in 2 months.
They're free-flying.
Are you sure you're done?
I don't know.
Got any more? So what's the difference between a hard-blowing hurricane and a lawyer?
What's that?
There isn't any. They're both blowhards. No, they like that because they're lawyers. They get it.
Okay.
All right.
This is, hey, you guys have a great weekend, and thanks for being on the show. You're great, both of you.
Okay.
And,
Appreciate it, Dave. You guys have a great weekend.
Yeah, you too. Bye-bye. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
God bless. Oh, they're so good. And we got a lot of scoops out of that, don't you think? And nobody has this. Nobody has this on any show. Okay, we're going to have Richard Lockwood calling, or is that 10? No, we got Bill Hardwick. Run a commercial. He's usually late anyways.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
With warmer temperatures right around the corner and allergies ramping up, now's the time to get those AC units serviced. At Hartley's, we pride ourselves in offering outstanding service with fast response times. With proper maintenance, you can make those hot days be a lot cooler and remove those pesky allergens that always seem to find their way into your home. Call us today so you can be living a much cooler and healthier life. Hartley's, community born, community raised, community serving.
Call Hartley's Climate Control today at 573-368-3163.
Never be too coy to tell your friends and family about Koi Sushi and Hibachi. Celebrate the best Chinese-Japanese restaurant in the Midwest. Call 573-426-5551 to make a reservation or order takeout. Locally owned, 1808 North Bishop, Rolla, Missouri.
We can sum up McDonald's new crispy chicken sandwich in one word. Crispy. But also juicy and tender. Okay, it's crispy, juicy, tender. All one word. But then, also pickle. Oh, and potato bun, which is 2 words. Okay, we can't sum up our new crispy chicken sandwich in one word, so you'll just have to try it to understand it. Order ahead on the McDonald's app at participating McDonald's. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba.
Merrill's Quarry and Asphalt, 40 years serving cities, counties, and everyday businesses with driveways for people who live and work in our little piece of heaven right smack dab in the middle of America. Call 573-578-9101 for your free estimate of rocking, rolling, paving, driveways, sealing, and striping too. That's 573-578-9101 for your free estimate.
Your home is your castle. You don't need unwanted hassle. Don't let those creatures move in to stay. Let us protect your investments. That's what we're all about. Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Plank is locally owned and family operated right here in Rolla, a Google preferred business. Our customer service and your satisfaction is our #1 goal. So call Plank today at 368-3333.
Plank Termite and Pest Control will save the day.
Busy schedule? Let your locally owned Price Chopper help you save time with online shopping. It's easy. Sign up to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app in the App Store or Google Play. Create an account and browse through the categories and choose the items you need. When you place your order, your personal shopper will get all of the items you've selected, taking the same care you would and following your notes. We offer free curbside pickup, so you don't even have to get out of your car. Start your online order today and no online shopping fee for a limited time. Go to tcmarkets.com or download our mobile app to get started. Price Chopper. Fresher savings every day. A-Car Real Estate, where experience matters. 532 million sold since 2003, the number one sales volume in Phelps County. As a client for decades, I can say they are the best in mid-Missouri. Call 573-368-7355. That's 573-368-7355 for the best real estate experience you'll ever have.
Gotta reach 'em, see it right now.
Insurance going up like crazy? Daniel and Henry Insurance is one of the largest private insurance companies in the world. Richard Boyette, 314-444-5011. He's my guy at Daniel and Henry for 10 years. Business or personal, call Richard at 314-444-5011. He's the best.
Maybe it's for a kitchen you've always wanted. Maybe it's just to have a little extra room. Whatever the reason you're considering a new home loan, it's good to know that Town & Country Bank will guide you in the right direction. Our experienced local lenders are here to help you with a new home construction, remodeling projects, and fixed and adjustable rate home loans. You can even start the process online by clicking Online Mortgage Center at tcbanks.com. Smart, friendly solutions. Town & Country Bank. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Okay, my next guest is here, a state representative. He's a Rocky War, a platoon leader. He's a lawyer, professor, philosopher, running for Senate now. My friend, Bill Hardwick. He's waving right now, in case you didn't know.
Thank you, guys.
And we're going to play his speech at the House. That he did last month, I think it was, or 2 months ago.
About a month ago. Yeah.
About a month ago. And boy, did it bring results. Go ahead and hit it.
The distinguished gentleman from Pulaski.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, to speak on the bill.
Proceed, gentlemen.
Mr. Speaker, last year we had the Amendment 3 debate in our districts, and many of you did and made our positions where we were. And in my district, I argued vociferously against Amendment 3. Tried to put up signs. I did town halls. I did debates. And everywhere I went, I said that my conscience and my beliefs about what was right and wrong believes that this should not be in our Constitution. And everywhere I went, I said, even if it does pass, because it's such a core belief that I believe in, I'll fight to repeal it. I'll fight to take out what I think should not be in the Constitution and replace it, which I think we should uphold, which is a principle and a value of life. So I did that to the utmost of my ability, but my district still voted to approve Amendment 3 at the end of the day. However, at the same time, my district voted to re-elect me by 71%, knowing that that was a central position, and knowing that I even said at many town halls, I'm willing to lose my seat, even if it costs me votes, in order to fight against Amendment 3. So I got elected, and I'm back here now, and if I ask the question, what do I do? What do I do with this choice that I presented, where I have this contradiction between what the voters voted on and what I said that I would uphold no matter what if I were elected? And so what I'm left to do is do what I truly believe in. And I want to describe what I believe in, first of all, as something I believe in math and logic. And here's a principle in mathematics and logic, that if A equals B and B equals C, then A equals C. It's called the transitive property of equality. It means if one thing's equal to something else, and that's equal to something else, they're all equal. And why is that relevant to what we're talking about? Because if any human life at all is worth protecting, is valuable, means something, is not just nothing in a nihilistic universe, if any of our lives matter, then all of our lives matter. Or the other possibility is none of our lives matter. Logically speaking, there are just two things that could exist. Either none of our lives are important, none of our lives worth protecting, or every single life is worth protecting. And I believe deep down inside, to the chagrin and the disagreement to many of my colleagues and people around the state, I believe every single life is worth protecting. Whether you have a disability, whether someone has Down syndrome, no matter what their race is, no matter whether they're a Republican or Democrat, every human life, and yes, I believe, is a gift from God. And I don't know why tragic things happen and horrible things happen, but I know that I believe that life comes from God and God wants us to live. And I think that my duty here in this place is to do every single thing I can to protect life and uphold life. And I think that the mother is a human life and the baby is a human life. And our duty as legislators is to protect both of them as people who have equal worth and value, just like everybody in our state. And so this bill comes before us. It's the opportunity to do what I said I would do and do what I believe in. And so it's easy for me to vote yes. It's easy for me to vote yes for that precept and that principle. And it's been said, I think it's been said on the floor, you guys will just keep fighting, you keep going for it. Yeah, if something you truly believe in is that important and matters that much as what we say about all human life, there's nothing more basic and important and central as to whether or not any one of our lives matters. I think a lot of us are not here holding our nose voting for it. I think a lot of us are here for this very reason. It's why we ran for office. It's why we came to the legislature, to uphold this basic principle that every human life is important and that every human life has equal worth and value ontologically, and that there's no higher good than us protecting that and defending that. And so I hope everyone will vote for this resolution. I know I certainly will. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Now, I can't tell you, without a few words, how great that speech was and how that shows who you are and what you're made of. If you ever have advertising going into elective office, or you want to teach a class or something like this of potential politicians, that is a great speech. I mean, that ought to be sent around the country, because you're saying exactly what I would want, and everyone, and then I ascribed to be when I was in office too. I understand exactly what you did, and it's amazing how simple that is, and yet most politicians cannot abide by it because they're swayed by the majority. And you, in your case, risked your own seat because you knew that this was voted in, and it was contrary to what you wanted, and you did not know that your constituents didn't want it either until you challenged them, and they stayed with you, didn't they?
Yeah, I didn't realize that my district voted for Amendment 3 until later on.
They did.
They had the data that Amendment 3 passed in my district by, I think it was a little over 52%, something like that. It was a small margin, but it passed. So the argument that was posed to me was, well, the people voted for this. How are you voting against the will of the people?
Yeah.
And I actually was asked about that last night. I was at an event and somebody said, well, how are you defying the will of the people? And I said, well, if I ask 37,000 people their opinion, I'll get 37,000 different answers. There are people who like what I do sometimes, people who don't like what I do. But I think that the way I should reconcile that is I should be honest about who I am and what I believe in. And I could say the people, and some people maybe didn't misunderstood the language, misread it, whatever. I don't know about that. I think that's the case, but I can tell them exactly what I would do if they elected me, which is what I will do is I will try to make Missouri the most pro-life state possible. And I will defend innocent life and unborn life. And I will also try to defend the life and the rights and the health of the mother, right? And that's my position. So if you want somebody to do that, then you can vote for me. And if you want somebody who's not going to do that, then I'm not your candidate. And people voted for me. And so I felt like
my duty or my obligation was to be true to the person I said I would be when I ran for office. And I think the pitfall lies in when a candidate says one thing, when they're on the campaign trail. We're about to go into a campaign season, so you're going to hear candidates. Mm-hmm. And if I say, hey, this is what I will do if you elect me, this is how I'll act, and this is what I'll stand for, my obligation is to be true to that and to make sure that I was consistent and forthright with the voters. And that's also how I sleep well at night. Because when I first got elected, I posted something about January 6th when I first got elected. I said I stand behind Senator Hawley challenging the election results. And people sent me hate mail and cussed me out and sent me messages. And I slowed down posting on Facebook because when I first got elected, I got so many like people cussing me out and threatening me kind of messages. And then I took a couple positions on things. I mean, I'm strong on no COVID vaccine mandate, and I'm pretty strong on Second Amendment. And while I was doing stuff like that, I got all kinds of messages. I hope your kids die of COVID. I hope your whole family dies. I hope you know what it's like to die of COVID. I hope your kids get shot. I got messages like that. And I'd post something on Facebook, then I get bunch of private messages, and I get comments like, cussing out, saying profane things. And I kind of realized no matter what I do, there's going to be some people who are upset with me.
Sure.
So when I realized that my job wasn't really to people please, then I started to sleep well at night. My job isn't to make everybody happy. My job is to be truthful with the voters about where I am, to listen. I need to listen, right? Like I need to listen to what you have to say, especially like you guys, JP, Dave, and Lisa. I really care about your point of view, and you inform me, help me stay grounded. So I talk to you and go, okay, what's your point of view? What do you think about that? And we can have that dialogue. That's important. So I need to listen, but I need to stand up for what I think is right and not be focused on just trying to make everybody happy. So if I'm true to my convictions, then in the end, the long arc of it, then I'll sleep more soundly. But if I'm constantly going, man, somebody on Facebook's mad at me, well, that won't last very good.
So I suspect that there were people mad at you.
Yeah, even after that speech, actually.
Even after the speech.
Yeah, there were some people who retweeted that and shared it.
Were they viciously?
Some people. Well, I think most people, usually I find, and this sounds weird, people who know me really well.
Yeah.
They know where I'm coming from. They know how I operate. They like me. They respect me. That's good. So I think that says something good. Like if you know who I am, they go, okay, good guy. Even if they disagree with me on abortion or pro-life, for example, they go, okay, but he's sincere. He's sincere about that. He believes in that. It's usually
they know that now. They didn't know that when you were first running.
Yeah, that's right. As you get to know me, you go, okay, I see where he's coming from.
Right.
He's trying to do a good job.
Right.
It's usually people who don't know me at all. They don't know me. They see it. They get mad. Just like, there's some people who they'll repost stuff where I'm on your show because you have an Israel flag here.
Oh, sure.
Right. And so they'll go, this guy is, Palestinian, whatever, stuff like that. And it's hateful. They don't
Zionist.
Zionist. That's a word that gets used a lot. Yeah.
What is a Zionist anyways?
What's a Zionist?
Zionist, yeah.
Yeah. Well, now it's a code anti-Semitic term for sure.
Exactly.
But yeah, I mean,
it's what we want to be.
Yeah,
it means we like Israel. We like the fact that we have our own darn country after all that's happened to us.
Yeah,
and God gave it to us anyway.
Yeah, that's right. It refers to the Zionist migration in
the
1800s. Yeah, that's right. So yeah, but it's a slur now, right?
Oh yeah,
to say,
terrible. But you're a Zionist.
But so the criticism is that Israel can be a country, and Israel is a country just as much as the United States is a country. So I don't, and I'm getting off on Israel, but I don't understand why it's not acceptable for Israel to be a country. So many people are like, Israel should give their land up. They're not allowed to be a country.
Exactly.
Israel's a country. The United States is a country. Israel's a country. United Kingdom's a country. France is a country. Russia's a country. They have borders. They could defend themselves, right? That seems pretty straightforward to me. But the unnatural, illogical hatred for Israel and the Jewish people I never understood. But it definitely exists. So just me being on your show, there are people who will retweet it and they'll be hateful about that. But they don't know. They don't know me. They don't know you. They don't know what they're talking about. They're just hateful, right?
Well, but if I say that this proves that there can be no two-state solution and that there is no genocide. The populations of Gaza have always increased, not decrease. Nobody's killing anybody there except now after Israel was viciously attacked. Yeah. it's come to that, and Israel isn't gonna bend over and give up.
No, we should support Israel.
Exactly.
We should support Israel, and they have a right to exist as a nation.
Sure.
And all the nations around Israel, we've never challenged Egypt's right to exist as a nation.
Never.
Or Lebanon or Syria, but for whatever reason, they feel like Israel's illegitimate and should not exist.
Yeah.
And so the moral high ground just comes from what I just talked about. The moral high ground comes from, you can't hurt me and I can't hurt you. You're a person, I'm a person. You've got rights, I've got rights.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think those rights come from government. I think that our rights come from God.
Yeah.
But it's our duty as people to recognize and respect those rights of their people.
Sure.
So if you want to have the moral high ground, it's where you respect other people's rights, right? And their right to exist.
Yeah.
And so
the Jews aren't telling anybody you got to move out of your land.
Right. Israel's not saying Egypt has to go away,
Yeah.
Syria has to go away, that Jordan has to go away.
But Iran, I mean,
Iran has to go
sure.
away. That's never been Israel's position.
That's right.
Israel and Benjamin Netanyahu it's my favorite quote on this, one of my favorite quotes. Benjamin Netanyahu, I think, has a lot of good quotes. He said that if all of Israel's enemies laid down their arms and disarmed, there would be peace in the Middle East.
That's right.
But if Israel laid down its arms, it would be utterly destroyed. And that's actually the situation in the Middle East, I think.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Very interesting. All right. So Proposition 1, let's talk about that a little bit. Use of out-of-state funding, I believe it is has now been killed, plus a reset for overtime and vacation time for small businesses. What do you think of that?
So that was one of the things that the Senate did the previous question PQ'd to stop the Democrat filibuster on. One was on H.R. 73, which is referring abortion back to the ballot. The other was on Prop A. So amendment, if you see in your ballot amendment, that amends the Constitution. When you
What are you writing on?
I'm actually, it's just like I'm just gesturing.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm imagining. So since I'm not just like
he's sitting there going like this.
No, I'm like lecturing. Yeah, like I'm sorry. I'm like
That's
I like
right.
writing in
That's
the
right.
sand in the air.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm not writing. I'm just like
when I'm seeing all that, and I hear it too.
What I love about your show is I don't know what we're going to talk about. We don't like prep it. I just like
No.
I'm listening to like 80s rock in the car or whatever, and
There
then I
you
get
go.
out and I'm like, what do you want to talk about? Okay, sure. So let's talk about it. So
I prep.
You do, yeah, you do.
do.
I don't. But your whole life's preparation, really.
A lot of it.
You see on the ballot amendment with an
Yeah.
A, we're amending the Constitution.
What's that got to do with the Jewish flag?
Why
Why are you putting the Jewish flag?
No.
What the hell's going on with you now?
No, okay.
Go ahead. No. Go back to the flag.
Let's back
we're
up.
Fine.
Let's back. No.
I'm speaking for all the Jews. We're fine.
I don't have
Come
to.
on.
I feel like that as like a professor. I have to draw everything
Okay.
and like depict everything. I don't need to do that. I could just.
I didn't mention he's a professor.
We're on
didn't I?
the
Yes.
we're on the radio. It's an audio medium, so I'll just go ahead and describe it. So if you see amendment on the Constitution, that's you're amending the Constitution
Yeah.
on the ballot. If you see proposition,
Yeah.
we're proposing a new statute.
Okay.
So that's the difference. When you go to the ballot and you see Amendment 1, Amendment 2, Amendment 3, those are amendments to the Missouri Constitution.
Right.
When you see proposition and propositions are lettered on the ballot, Proposition A,
Yeah.
Proposition B, Proposition C, that means that either the legislature is referring to the people or there's an initiative petition to propose a statutory change.
Yeah.
So Amendment 3 amended the Constitution. It put abortion in the Missouri Constitution. Proposition A proposed a statutory change, and that statutory change raised the minimum wage. Ultimately, would go to $15 an hour in Missouri, and it required, I think, for every 30 hours worked, you had to give your employees 1 hour of sick leave. Okay, so it's a statute. So the statute can be changed by the legislature without referring it back to ballot, because the legislature can change the statute.
Okay.
And I voted for our Proposition A change over the sick leave because there were enough small businesses around here, and even like we're talking in the Senate district, in Pulaski and Wright County and Lebanon and Rolla, who came over and they said, we're not like Walmart or Boeing.
Yeah.
We're like a really small business.
Yeah.
And we have a couple employees. So if we're gonna abide by this law, which we want to, I think most small businesses want to comply with law. If we're going to comply with the law, we're going to have to fire some people, or we're going to go to business, because while there are some businesses that they're raking in billions and they're millions, and executives are making millions. A lot of businesses, they're making small margins
Right now, yes.
and they're barely able to hire people. So the question was, do we undo the sick leave part of it? And to say, hey, that's up to the business. I think it's a good thing if you want to offer sick leave, if you want to compete. But I really kind of believe in, and this is my free market side, I believe in it's a contract between two people, right? You're the employer, they're the employee. You make a contract with them and you trade.
Right.
And what do you trade? You trade their time.
Yeah.
You trade their skills. You trade their abilities. You trade their force multiplication of your business, usually for what you have to give them, which is for the profit you make. You give them money.
Yeah.
So you make a trade as a contract between two adults, and that's what those terms you should decide.
Sure.
And so there's some things, and this is why it's very interesting, because I'm going to go back to something else. A couple years ago, I was like the Chamber of Commerce, like enemy of the world, because I said that the business shouldn't require a COVID vaccine.
They should or shouldn't?
Should not. I said they shouldn't be able to require a COVID vaccine. And they said, well, stay at a business is business. And I think those things are really different, right? So I don't think that I should require the business to say, here's your sick leave, here's the policies, here's the pay. I think that's different. But I think it's totally different than me saying, well, if you want to work here, you have to cut off your finger. Totally different, right? There's different things. So I think there should be some boundaries, but I think when it comes to like benefits and stuff like that, we should leave a lot of that to the small business to figure out what they want to do.
Yeah.
And so we had a requirement on every employer. So like if it's at your firm, if it's at your restaurant, whatever, it just was prohibited. So it wasn't good. And so I voted to change that sick leave part of it.
Thank you.
And
Thank you very much.
Did they voted? They voted.
Yeah. So what happened was the House voted on it.
Yeah. My wife had this last week, and she talked about it on air.
Well,
oh yeah.
I did a review of some of your legislation you guys passed before
Good
session
job.
closed. So
I said, we got to get that guy out here again. Come on.
This legislation was big. We had this legislative session, big controversial issues.
You guys got
Seemed like a big
I
fight.
bet you're getting a lot of complaints about that one too.
Yeah, that was one of the things they said. You're undoing the will of the people. It went to the House.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, because it was voted on in November, and then the Senate did it's first time in 6 years they did a motion to previous question to end the filibuster, and they did it for abortion and they did it for Prop A. So they PQ'd previous question into the filibuster twice. So the Senate you could talk as long as you want about whatever you want. And floor time is the precious commodity because remember, there's only so many days in the session. And so there's so many bills that want to come up. So the more you talk on the floor, the more bills die in the Senate. And a senator can hold the floor as much as possible.
Really?
And so, yeah. And so, they could talk, I'd read a book, I could read the Bible, I could read a movie script, I could whatever. And I'm just slaughtering, to use violent terms, but bills are just dying. Right.
Yeah.
So, but the only way to stop it is by a motion for previous question in debate. And it's very rare. But this is one of the reasons why I'll talk about Bill Eigel. There were a lot of lobbyists and special interests who had some issues. It didn't like Bill Eigel because he would try to stop legislation. There'd be a big bill, 100-page bill, 200-page bill, and he would read and he'd filibuster. And then these bills that there's money associated with would die. And so a lot of lobbyists and specialists had it out for Bill Eigel, right?
Uh-huh.
But I think that Bill Eigel did do a lot of good because if there's a 200-page bill that nobody's read,
oh, they're just going to vote on it
without
reading it.
Maybe it shouldn't
That's
pass.
never happened in history.
Yeah, so maybe it shouldn't pass.
No.
So if there's an omnibus bill like that, 200 pages, maybe we should say. Anyway, I digress. But
no.
I have one quick question about Prop A. Excuse me. So what happens to the sick leave that is occurring between now and August 28th, which is the actual repeal date?
Yeah, I don't recall.
Are they still getting that?
I don't think there is an emergency clause that makes it retroactive. I don't remember that. I can't say that for sure.
I'm continuing to do the accruals on my employees.
Yeah, I think we voted on it, but I don't remember if we passed an
Okay,
emergency clause with it that made it go in effect immediately. But if there's not an emergency clause, then in the meantime, it won't be retroactive. You'll be on the hook for the interim sick leave. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But I don't remember that. I don't remember if we did or not.
Well, it's been all, I mean, this has been amazing. I mean, it's 10:27 already.
Yeah.
I mean, where did the time go?
Well, I talk a lot.
Well, you're a politician.
Okay.
You can't be a politician and not talk.
Ask me anything you want about anything.
All right.
Ask me about
Ashley Babbitt's parents.
Okay. Talk about January 6th.
Awarded $5 million for her murder.
Yeah.
By the head of the DC police, Michael Byrd. And so what do you think of that?
I think that $5 million doesn't cover what happened to her.
I would agree.
I think that we were just talking a little bit about January 6th. So if they say police officers were murdered on January 6th, police officers were not murdered. That's one of those things that became like a zeitgeist, a meme. The media kept repeating it. People they said, police officer, you're okay. A police officer being murdered. No police officers got murdered. One person got shot and killed, and it was Ashley Babbitt.
That's right.
And she was unarmed.
And the FBI testified to the fact that there were no guns.
There were no
found
guns.
by except for the ones the police had.
And I feel like I have to give a thorough answer because we always do. I mean, if you shattered windows, if you vandalized,
right.
But that's not the. But
they
but a proportional crime, even if that is not, waiting trial for years. January 6th was 4 years ago. So waiting in prison for 4 years, that's not proportional for that. For what should be a fine or should be something like that. So
well, we broke the 1-5 thing when I had just minutes ago.
Yeah.
With the McCloskeys, Mark McCloskey, his wife was there, but he's representing the pardoned 1-6ers.
Yeah.
And he's also representing the people that were called on. Who's that? Richard. Oh, hey. Hi there. Welcome to the Dave Weinbaum Show. What can I do for you? Oh, wait. You know what? So you're going to be on. Oh, there you are. Okay, listen. Just listen for a little bit. I've got some unfinished business with this gentleman here, and you actually surprised me, and you're right on time. So don't worry about it. I will not fine you at all. Okay. Anyways, so what was I saying? We broke.
Yeah,
they broke the thing, and I've also talked to another person that's important in this, Jeff Zink.
Yes,
and I am also friends with his son Ryan Zink.
Yeah,
Ryan Zink did not take the pardon. Now, when I got to that point, they said there are certain things we can't talk about, and that's one of them, because there's some things that could go on other than going back to regular court.
Yeah.
Okay. So with the refusal to do that, then you got a judge, Boasberg. Does that ring a bell? You know who he is, right?
I don't know him.
But you've heard of him?
Yes.
Yeah, because he's one of the judges that tried to tell Trump that he couldn't send a murdering illegal back to his home country. He took on the presidential. I didn't see him on the ballot in the presidential. Apparently, he beat Donald Trump, who had 77 million votes, and he thinks he runs the country now. Well, no, there's a lot of these judges doing that.
Right.
So now they're all commenting on Ashley Babbitt, calling her a terrorist. She's a 14-year veteran of the Air Force, and she weighs 118 pounds, as what McCloskey said. And she was unarmed.
Right. And shot an unarmed person. So that's probably, that probably doesn't cover what it cost for her life, $5 million. So I tend to think, but I'm glad that her family got something.
All right. So let me just say this, because I got so much to talk about. If you want to hang out for Mr. Lockwood here, you're more than welcome.
Yeah, I'll hang out.
Oh, good. I love that. All right. Okay.
My next guest now, who is
reactivated. What? No
Trump hat? What are you doing? That's traitorous.
I'm so sorry.
I'm not wearing mine because you know why? But I have it in front of me. See? Uh-oh.
Right.
And the reason I don't wear it is that I get all dark inside, and I can't. People can't see my beautiful face. So yes, I know you have a doll. Okay, we're going from political genius to kindergarten. Show your little doll again.
Okay, 1 second. This is my favorite.
All right, this man is an author, and do you have his book? All right. Put his book up. He's an expert on space aliens and time travel, and he's also well, there's a lot of things he is, and he's going to tell you about them. But please welcome Richard Lockwood.
Thank you.
Can I just say I'm so excited I stayed for space aliens and time travel. I'm psyched. Okay.
Have you ever seen a space ship?
I don't think we can ask those kind of questions on air. Do you want to get deep? I don't. If you want to talk about it,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm gonna reserve comment until I hear what your expert guest has to say.
All right.
I'll stick around.
Well, I have. Wait a minute. I've seen it.
A UFO?
I've seen
a UFO?
Fo?
A UFO?
FO?
A UFO?
Yeah, well, why didn't you say that? UFO. My God. I thought you said, are you a foe?
No, why would I say that?
I don't know.
That doesn't make any sense.
I don't know. I thought I was your friend. Well, you're saying, are you a foe? JP's laughing his ass off. Hey, what are you laughing at, Lockwood? I'm asking this. Oh, my God, it went off. What happened? My God. Anyways, no, I'm not a foe, but I have seen a UFO.
Okay. This is the appropriate time for me to. Did you guys? Hear about the?
Now I got to describe the damn thing because he doesn't believe me. He thinks I'm a foe first, and then he wants to know if I saw a UFO. Okay, I've seen the UFO. I admit that. All right, it was on like 1981, 82 summer. It was broad daylight, about 1 o'clock in the afternoon. I was walking into my then house, and I felt something over me. And I turned around, and 100 yards away, I'm estimating now, and maybe 100 yards up, there's this huge silver ship above me. A UFO, yes. And it was just sitting there. There was no noise, no movement, and what was that? Anyways, it was. And I'm looking around for people that might witness this with me, right? Because it wasn't a dream. So I just stood and looked at it for the next about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, and I guess I got enough information from looking at me, and like lickety splat, it was out of there. Okay. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Very good. Very good.
All right. So
last time I was on, Dave.
Yes.
We were talking about anomalies on Mars.
Yes.
And since then, I've sent a couple of other pictures of anomalies to you. JP, did you happen to see those come across?
He's going to look for them.
Yeah, but I can look.
All right. One is a pyramid, an actual pyramid structure on the face of Mars.
So you're saying you have evidence that possibly other than humans have been on Mars. Yeah, there it is, right there.
I'll share the screen.
Okay, share with the screen. All right, did you know this? Do you have any idea about this? I'm talking to you, Bill.
I am listening and absorbing right now.
Okay.
I can't see the things yet.
Well,
okay, I'll turn around. Okay.
Yeah. Turn that around. All right, he's going to see it. This is on Mars now.
That's actually on Mars.
Yeah.
Not only that, but they've taken a picture of what appears to be a doorway in the side of a cliff.
Yeah.
And I sent that along as well. And the craziest thing is the hovering spoon. There's actually a picture of a spoon taken by the rover, the Mars rover, that appears to be hovering, and you see the shadow underneath it. And it's a spoon-like structure. Hard to believe.
Do you have that?
I'm guessing it's this next one. Maybe let's see.
Yeah, there it is, right there.
It's in the circle.
Yeah.
And if you could see,
what is holding it up? Because it's got
They don't know. They don't even know.
Well, is it stuck into the ground behind it? It might be. Is that a big spoon or a little spoon? Do they have any idea what size it is?
From what I understand, it's as big as a large kitchen ladle.
Okay.
Like something you would stir spaghetti sauce with, that type of thing.
Okay, well you've got a major politician, business person that wants to not only go to Mars, but he wants to settle Mars, Elon Musk, right?
And I believe that one of the reasons he wants to go there, that he suspects that there is the remnants of technology still up on Mars, and he wants to get his hands on it.
And how does he know this?
Well,
I mean, he's got to have some information, right?
He does. He's very close to Donald Trump.
Yeah.
And
what's Trump got to do with this?
Oh, Trump knows all about it.
Or what about his Uncle John? Let's talk about him at MIT.
Okay. Uncle John.
What did Uncle John? What did he get from Tesla when he died?
When he got everything from Tesla, all of
that is the actual name, Tesla.
Okay, so John Trump was given all of the Tesla files, all of the projects, all of his notes, all of his models, and of course we've talked about this, that in this trove of Tesla material was a time machine, also a weapon. It was like a laser type weapon.
Laser, okay.
That was years and years ahead of its time. As a matter of fact, I think that's the groundwork of the Golden Dome that's being proposed right now by Donald Trump.
Really? You're talking about the dome that's going to knock down nuclear weapons, right?
That's right.
Right.
But anyway, that was last week's conversation. This week I want to veer off into something else.
Okay, let's do it.
Why the topic I'd like to bring up is why the Civil War never actually ended.
The Civil War, our Civil War.
Our Civil War. You know, the Democrats started the Civil War, okay? Because they wanted to take the United States in a different direction than the that was laid out.
Well, they wanted to leave the Union, right? They wanted their own country.
Right. Well, the Northern Republicans called them out on their crimes against humanity and how their policies didn't fit the Constitution.
Yeah.
So the Democrats didn't want to change. So they responded with hatred, violence, bloodshed. Sound familiar?
Yeah. Sounds like about today.
So they called themselves the Confederate States of America.
Right.
And broke away from the United States, I believe it was 1861.
Okay.
In April, of that month. And they fired on Fort Sumter in South Carolina. And that began the war, which took over 750,000 American lives.
Yeah.
So
it's huge.
The Democrats were soundly defeated. They had no choice but to surrender.
But you're saying they've resurrected themselves fairly quickly from that Civil War, and it really hasn't ended. Is that correct?
Well, I don't believe that they ever gave up their cause, even though they were beaten to submission. You know, many historians agree with me that they're continuing their hostilities toward the Union to this very day.
You're saying the present day Democrat Party is doing the same things that the Confederates were doing during the Civil War. Is that right?
Yeah. Yes, sir. And
do you agree with that, Bill?
I think that. Go ahead. No, let me finish his thought.
Do you know what he does? He's a state representative.
No, that's okay.
And
he needs to hear this.
He's good. No, he's good. He got the state to revote a
Yeah, it was a team effort, though. A lot of people did.
Yeah, I know,
So,
but this guy does a great job, and he got him to turn around two things that were very unpopular with a lot of people, and also in that was that didn't you kill not kill, but kill the way that they can contribute money from outside.
Yeah, I voted for that no foreign.
And that also got solved. That which I think is critical too.
Mm-hmm.
So he's good. He's talented. He's going to be president someday. He told
let
me
me
that.
continue.
All right, go ahead.
After the Civil War, the Democratic Party continued to resist the Union, of course.
Yeah.
And they formed the Ku Klux Klan at the time. And that was meant to terrorize the newly freed American African Americans who were Republican. So they were dressed in the hats, coned hats, and bed sheets, and burned the houses of these black Republicans, raped their women, hung their sons. By the way, does that remind you of anything in our day and age?
Well,
it should, because it reminds me of the evil tactics used by Islamic extremists.
Yeah, sure.
So anyway, the Democrats back then and into the 1900s believed in segregation. They opposed any civil rights legislation. They voted against anti-lynching bills. They were pro-abortion to keep the black population from growing too large.
Yeah.
They hated President Kennedy's proposed civil rights legislation. That's why when Kennedy went to Dallas in '63, Democratic operatives in the CIA assassinated him.
Okay, do you know who they were? I had a gal on here like 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, who was Harvey Oswald's girlfriend.
Yeah, you told me about that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I could tell it was being interrupted. And she knew exactly what it was, that somebody in government was shutting down my show and did it 3 times. We got her kicked off 3 times, and it came back, And then when I called her, she says, I'm leaving for Sweden or someplace. It could have been Hungary or whatever. She says, I'm leaving for a while. She's 82 years old, this gal. And she was Lee Harvey Oswald's girlfriend when he was assassinated.
Wow.
And she says, well, she did say Lee Harvey Oswald had nothing to do with it. He was a plant, and he wasn't a communist. He didn't go to Russia as a wanting to be a communist kind of person. He was there.
I've heard that too.
He was there acting as if he were, and then he was going to get close to Castro and kill him. And it didn't work because they had a hurricane, and that was that. And then he got killed.
But anyway,
yes, I divorced.
The Democrats still want to destroy the United States and its Constitution.
Yeah, they're still doing it, right?
They've done a great job of taking over the schools, the media, many Christian churches.
Our very life expectancy has gone way down, and our schools are the worst in the world. And this is under Democratic leadership. Am I wrong?
Of course.
Am I wrong, sir?
The Democratic leadership has not done very well for this country.
Oh, thank you.
Well, they're waging a war against the police, ICE, and all the law enforcement groups who bring stability to our country.
Yeah.
Big slogan: defund the police. Right?
Sure.
The police are in their way.
Yeah.
And they've allied themselves with segments of the population who feel disgruntled, oppressed, and they embrace all.
Yes, we call them judges in this country.
Pardon?
We call them judges.
Yeah.
The judges think they're the president. The judges are right now the message that we're getting from the Democrats, who are pissed off about the Supreme Court right now, and our Constitution.
Well, they've allied themselves with anarchists, Marxists, Chinese communists, radical women's groups, socialists, anti-capitalists, BLM, Antifa, Hamas. Okay,
and about 20 million of the people that came across the border with a helping hand from the Democrats.
Well, they need foot soldiers to destabilize our country and overthrow it.
That's right.
They can't do it on their own.
And then they need to get the votes, because that's the one thing they're going to get out of this. That's the other thing they're going to get out of this is perpetual leadership of the country. Am I off here?
I think. I mean, what's your point that there's an election and they keep continuing to take over the country no matter what the elections are, the results are. So I think that seems like the point you're making. That no matter what,
well, they're going to get bodies in here that are going to vote for them in gratitude for being led into the country.
Rush Limbaugh used to say that when the Republicans lose an election, they go, "That's what the people wanted." When the Democrats lose an election, they go, "It seems like an anomaly to them." They think that the natural order thing should be that they have power.
Well, yeah.
So the bottom line is we can't let an overtly anti-American party govern our country. You know, the Democratic Party in the form that it currently takes should be dissolved.
Well, they're dissolving themselves right now, seems to me. I mean, who do they have as a leader? They don't have a leader right now. Well, AOC might be an example, and by the way, she's a good speaker. She's a very good speaker, but what's coming out of the mouth is garbage. It makes no sense what she's saying. But she can speak well and appear to be, mentally astute. But get her down to the brass facts, and it's complete lies, and doesn't mean anything. It's meaningless.
Well, she's a Marxist.
Yeah,
that's why she hangs out with Sanders.
Well, yeah. Bernie Sanders, an oligarch. He talks about the oligarchs all the time. Are you an oligarch?
No, I'm not.
No, and I don't think I am either. Richard, you an oligarch?
No,
JP?
sir.
Nope. My wife wants to be an oligarch, but I don't know. I don't think
those oligarchs are the worst. Yeah.
I don't know what is an oligarch. Do you
oligarch,
know what come on, you're the professor here. Wait, are you gonna do this?
Only like group cabal. Archy is rule like monarchy ruled by one. Oligarchy is like there's a group of people, and their circle runs everything. That could be like cartels, or that could be like corrupt corporations.
So they corrupt from
that could
being
be like
rich.
No, it's just like the people that are the in crowd. Monarchy's one.
Yeah.
Democracy's everybody, the masses. Oligarchy's like this group of people, and this group of people run everything. So some people think it's like, maybe it's like the international banks. It's like corrupt corporations. It's like Illuminati. And like Russia, it's like the big companies that are in like if there's a mafia government, it's like the family heads. It's just like this group of people.
Yeah.
They're the inner circle, and then they run everything. It's an oligarchy.
Okay. What's the difference between a democracy and a republic?
A democracy is you're ruled by many. So demos is like the people, the masses. So ruled by many. You're ruled by many. Think about that. The majority rules. That's the rule of democracy.
Yeah.
So everybody votes, you do it. In a republic comes from the Latin word res publicata, means thing of the people. So the people have created this thing. So in a constitutional republic, their principles were governed by a constitution and ideals.
Right.
So
a pure democracy is a bad thing.
Yeah, because they can change the constitution.
Because you're still ruled. Yeah.
Yeah.
I call it the tyranny of the 51.
Yeah.
If you've got 100 people and 51 want to make your backyard a garbage dump, guess what? Your backyard's a garbage dump.
Okay. Yeah.
And 51, just the majority of 51 in a pure democracy will do that.
Okay.
So And that's why we have the Electoral College. By the way,
yeah,
there is a bill that was called Reynolds versus Sims that was overthrown back in the early part, in the mid part of the 1900s.
Yeah.
And the states used to have like a little federal system, similar to what the the United States has in Electoral College, and it was overturned. Reynolds versus Sims.
Okay.
If that piece of legislation can be overturned, we can take the power away from the population centers. I don't know if anybody knows about that, but maybe I'll bring up some information.
He'll get right on it because he's, you know what, he's a lawyer. He knows all about that, right? Does that?
I prefer if you not let anybody know that I'm a lawyer. It's very helpful.
That was my telling my joke with the McCloskeys. So I had to
Dave,
think. I made this up.
I've got one for you.
What? Okay, let's hear it.
The My Pillow guy is making a new corduroy pillow.
Yeah.
It made the headlines.
Made the headlines. I get it. Yeah. Thank you very much for that. All right. What's the difference between a hard-blowing hurricane and a lawyer?
Oh, no.
Oh,
no.
What's the difference between a hard-blowing hurricane and a lawyer? There isn't any. They're both blowhards.
Okay, I got one.
I made that up yesterday.
And my son made up
Actually,
this
this
joke.
morning. Go ahead.
My son literally made up this joke. He called me. He called me yesterday.
Yeah.
And he said, "Dad, I'm going to stop making jokes about the Democrats." And I said, "You are? You're going to stop making jokes about Democrats?" He said, "Yeah, I'm going to quit joking about Democrats. They're really nice people. They'd give you the shirt off my back."
Joke of the day, right? You tell your son.
Oh,
he wins the joke of the day right
I
there.
was like, "You're going to be all right, son."
How old is he?
He's 14.
14. He's a smart kid.
Yeah.
Smart kid. All right, let's see here. So, no, I got off your page. Did you know that O'Keefe, you know O'Keefe is? James O'Keefe? He used to own Project Veritas.
Oh, yes.
Really effective guy. Well, they kicked him out of Veritas, and he's doing his own thing. But now he's acquiring the Project Veritas. In other words, he's going to buy it, probably with some backers, and he's going to release the Epstein tapes. Where are those? You know?
So in that Project Veritas, they actually infiltrate these groups. They get people in.
Yeah. They nailed Pfizer, and we all know now that these vaccines, there's another guy named Dr. McCullough. He says it's 73% of the people who have taken the shots and have been autopsied have proven that the shots have made them sick with other things. All right, heart, whatever. And so this thing is coming back too. And I knew this way back when. Patricia Oden Maxwell, thank you, Bill, for your info, and thank you for upholding Bill Eigel. I don't know, was that an upholding?
I just think, in people in the Jeff City world, people were critical of him, but probably stopping a lot of bills that shouldn't have become law is a good thing. There's a lot of bad stuff that gets hidden in omnibus bills, and pumping the brakes on that's something that I would probably do too, to say, hey, let's just not pass 200-page bills at 100 miles an hour like this with all the stuff.
Well, how are you gonna regulate that, though?
Well, how are you going to stop it?
Maybe you need
a filibuster.
Wait. This is backwards, because U.S. Congress way back in the day said they needed to pass Obamacare so they could read it to find out what was in it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
I thought that's how government worked.
I think it should be a short bill.
So does every Democrat.
Subject. I think it should be like one simple thing people can read, debate it, go over it. But not like we do, where it's 150 pages, dropped the last minute. Nobody's read it. It's just it's special interest stuff. A lot of that, I read in there, like some of those bills, it was like, everybody's got to get fingerprinted. That was in one of them that we caught in the House. It's like, well, if you do this, you got to get fingerprinted. And then like at the bottom, I always see, and this goes into a federal database. So it's like a good bill. At the bottom, there's all stuff like that. It's like feeding massive amounts of people's data. And so it's like, it's a big bill. They go, hey, economic development, whatever. Everybody likes
all
that.
Your rights.
Then you read down there and your freedoms are taken away.
Yeah.
Your, there's mass, whatever. There's database, there's data collection. Start voting no on that.
It was like Obamacare with all the armed people that were in there, the armed agents that were part of that. And then, yeah.
Oh, this has been a great show. Okay. So what do you think is the most startling thing about space travel and space aliens in 1 minute?
The most startling thing?
Yeah.
Is my mic muted right now?
No.
Okay. So the most startling thing is that the government knows all about this and keeps it under wraps. And there's no disclosure.
And there's a lot of areas where the aliens are landing and doing whatever it is, and people know about them, right?
Well, from what I've heard.
Yeah. And a lot of it is happening in our area, which is, what is it, 37 or 137?
Yeah, the
37th parallel, or, yeah. Very interesting. All right. Well, guess what? It's coming down last minute. Anything?
Go ahead. He's trying to say.
Go ahead. What do you want to say in the last 20 seconds you got? 20 seconds.
The line item veto is something that we have to push so that omnibus bills like that.
You can knock out some of that crap.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's a very good, interesting conversation. And I appreciate you, and I appreciate you, sir, and all my other guests. Remember to look back at that interview with the McCloskeys, because that broke national news on what the J6ers have gone through. It is remarkable that it's not yet into the other news. Anyways, I want to thank everybody here, and I'll be back with another edition. And happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary to us. All right, that's it.
Keep walking, keep on your toes, and don't stop.